If you've ever told yourself that you're not going to buy anything on Amazon Prime Day, and later on that day, you're ordering a bunch of stuff on Amazon Prime Day, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. We are back, and we should have a pretty good day on our hands here today. As AB just said on pre-market prep, maybe we're going to get some more volatility today. We got a lot of stuff going on. We got a lot of stuff to look at. Let's go ahead and get it.
Welcome to Benzinga Live Trading.
Let's see if this actually kind of comes back.
Way out of control, got way too high.
All right. Hey, I will take that. I will absolutely take that.
Hello and welcome, folks. Happy Wednesday. It is hump day. It's the turn. It's the middle of the week. We are halfway there, but we have some money to make here today. We're going to start by bringing on my main man, 13. 13, happy Wednesday, dude. How on earth are you doing here today?
I'm doing really good. I'm very happy with all the moves I made yesterday because today it seems like the market decided it's going to turn around. Hopefully, we'll get our first SPY close that doesn't make new all-time highs. We've been having that for 9 days in a row. I think we need to have that stop. That's a streak that should end.
I'll tell you what, if the pre-market is any indication of where we're going to be today, we are on a good track for that to happen. Also, love to see that as soon as we started the show, Alyssa pulled up Amazon and started going ham on Prime Day. So we are all part of one big happy family here, clearly. Jonathan Cooper, Ryan and 13, when you go over the S&P, bring up the equal weight S&P. It shows the story of rotation. Jonathan, it's almost like you've been spying on us as kind of like a secret spy in the happy hour, because this is actually something that we have been doing quite a bit. 13, why don't we just start with this, huh?
Sure.
Here is going to be your SPY. I'm going to actually turn off some of these other stuff. We'll just minimize them, if you will, whatever. Turn off some of these studies here. This is what Jonathan's talking about. Let's go ahead and click that plus button in the upper right corner. The equal weight ticker is going to be RSP. Let's go ahead and add that here, and bang. Now you can see the difference here, right? The RSP for the longest time was just kind of stagnant as the SPY ripped to new highs. 13, you were just covering that with some of those highs in a row. But recently, the story has changed, and SPY kind of sitting here a little bit. Equal weight SPY really starting to trade up. I want to see this gap in between these two continue to close. If we want to get this to kind of mirror each other. So, Jonathan, I think that this is what you were saying. Let me know if I made your point well enough with the visual aids.
No, it's great because we have been discussing this since last week about how the equal weight index has been creating it's been diverging away with the SPY running up as much as it has. Now that started changing last Tuesday. You can go, I think it was the 9th, that you can go back and you can see that was just before the big move in RSP started happening. And at the same time, we started getting this big move in the RSP. We were still getting some moves in the SPY, but not as much as it was before. You can, if you kind of measure how much the RSP has moved up compared to the SPY has not moved up as much as the RSP has. That to me, that's a little bit more of a broadening out of the market with big names like Meta and Microsoft and Tesla that have been driving up the SPY. We're seeing rotation out of those and into some of the smaller names within their own sectors. I think Meta and Google are probably the best examples of how traders and investors are leaving those big names and they're going into the smaller names like Comcast and Fox, Verizon, AT&T. We saw that big time yesterday.
And we're going to continue to see that. I'm sorry that this graphic isn't the best looking graphic, but this actually gives us the data that 13 was just talking about since July 9th, which is absolutely when the story changed. SPY up 0.5%, RSP up just shy of 5%. So really cool tip for all of you Benzinga Pro people out there. When you have the comparison tool on here, these numbers on the side is looking at the entire time frame that you have in the window. So if you identify a very specific day like 13 just did, all you have to do is move the chart to that day as the start time, and bang, you get that information real fast right here on the chart. 13, real good stuff. Jonathan Cooper, shout out to you for bringing this up. This is exactly something that we have been looking at 100%. So, okay, real good there. Let me go ahead and put some of my moving averages on here. We're going to talk about some of the movers, and then we're going to go back into some of the stocks that you folks want to see and some of the dynamics that you want to see. Also, don't forget, we've got Tim Melvin today. And remember from last week, we talking about uranium names. So if you're into that at all, or you have some suggestions or you have something you want to learn about, get those tickers ready. We will ask Tim about those uranium names here today. Okay.
Jay Rice said that's absolutely true. We were also talking about how the IWM had made huge moves over the past 4 days. Almost hit my target of 225, but it's got close enough. I think it's going to come back in. First downside target I have for that, where I would expect support, is going to be 212. And then, of course, I have some of the levels under that, but 212 is where I think we're going to head to first.
Okay. Real good stuff there. You can also do this here on Pro, just like we did with the RSP. Tom saying his picks from last week are all up. Indeed, they are. And in fact, I saw over the last couple of sessions that we've had Tim here, I've seen a couple of comments on ticker NEP, which is one that he gave out that's actually down from when he gave it out. A couple of things about that. Number one, please keep in mind that all of these picks that he's giving you, unless he says specifically, are going to be for a long time horizon. In fact, a lot of them have to do with collecting dividends as part of the strategy. So the longer you hold it, the better it's going to be, despite what the price does, as long as the theme stays the same there. But I got to thinking about that. Because I know not everyone looks at the long-term dividend picture, and I'm looking at just the positions that I took that he was talking about: GMRE, GRNT, NEP, STWD. Those are going to be the four that I had. The amount that I'm down in NEP is dwarfed by the amount that I'm up in the other three, and that's before the dividend payouts that I've already got. So I'll be honest with you, I've actually added to NEP and dollar cost average on this move down. So again, keep in mind what his premise is. It's great to see all of these things starting to trade back up. So real good stuff there. We're going to talk to Tim at about 10 here today. Okay, let's go ahead. I love the energy in this chat room this morning, by the way. This is really, really awesome stuff. I have a feeling we're going to have a great day here today. Let's go ahead and check at the movers and run through some of the stuff that's going on here today. First one is going to be ADTX. This is edit text. We have absolutely traded this one before. This stock popped as high as 338 and has come back in. We're below the VWAP. So obviously, one of the first things that we want to do is see this recapture the VWAP. Now, if we take a look here at the news, we did have a newsprint here this morning. Adidas and Evofem amend and restate its merger agreement, targeting a September 30th closing. So is this actually just kind of a merger? Is this a done deal? Is there potentially some more? The action here this morning says that this is not all finalized. So I want to see if this gives us a trading opportunity here, but that's what's going on with ADTX. 13, did you have anything else on here?
Well, aside from the merger amendment, it has a float that's less than 2 million shares. They did have a little bit of short interest in there, almost 9% with 4.77 days to cover. So there could be a little bit of squeezing happening here, but this is, I don't know exactly how much we might get out of this one. I don't have the details of what their buyout price was with this merger. So I don't know where the upside is. But this is just going to be something that I'll just watch, and if there's patterns that present themselves to us, and we'll try to trade them. And they'll just be in and out. We're not going to be holding this one.
Yeah, indeed. So good stuff there. ADTX. We've got some more here on the list. Let me go ahead and run through them. Next one here is going to be ticker SHIB. This is Shimmick. Now, this is one that I've never actually traded before, but this is one that we have kind of talked about before. For those of you that are not familiar with this, Shimmick Corporation is a leading provider of water and other critical infrastructure solutions nationwide. It selectively focuses on the following types of infrastructure projects: water treatment, water resources, and other critical infrastructure regarding water. Now, this is important. 13 and I were both happy to see this on the list here because we've been talking about water kind of being a theme, especially for some of these states out west. Now we're seeing this stock get a pop here. The news that's going on with this: $27.6 million subcontract from Sunol Valley Water Treatment Plant. 13, what do you got here on this one?
Yeah, so aside from that, that water treatment subcontract, they do have a small float. A lot of these I'm going to be talking about today all have floats underneath 2 million. This is no different. They're short interest, nothing really special. I think the real big thing here with this one is that this is part of the water treatments segment of the economy, and that's going to be something that I think is going to gain a lot of prominence as we continue to build out maybe more nuclear infrastructure, more chip fabrication, data center infrastructure. All those require lots of water in order to operate and run. Not to mention, we're also building out more homes. Those are going to need more water. Arizona is having a real hard time with water right now. So this is going to be an ongoing theme. And I didn't know about this company until it popped up today. Still isn't really making a lot of money. It's not turning a net profit quite yet, but it does have really good revenue. And it's only a matter of time, I think, before they start reporting consistent quarters where they are, net income positive. So that's one thing to watch for. This could be a really interesting company down the road.
Okay, indeed. Now today here, maybe just for the purpose of day trading, we could have this on deck here today. Just kind of looking at this bottom side here, looks to be like 285, VWAP at 312, upside here about 340. We did have a push to 350. So we'll see if any of those levels are in play here today. This is ticker SHIM, Sierra Hotel India Mike. I can never forget M. Easy Mike is going to reach through the screen and slap me if I do that. I'm never going to do that again. Okay, let's keep moving on. Next one here is going to be LCFY. This actually had a great day yesterday. There are a number of traders on Twitter that really traded this Westway. Shout out to Madaz out there who just kills it every day. Had a great day yesterday. Looks like we're getting some more here today on LCFY. The stock is popping up towards 775-ish. That type of area has come back in. Looks like we just retook the VWAP and we're kind of sitting there. Stock's up another 21% today after being up yesterday. If I take a look at the news, I've got nothing fresh here today. So this absolutely feels like a momentum continuation from yesterday's session. Yep. What say you, 13?
Yeah, relative volume. Also, very low float. This one actually I didn't cover, but I'm just looking at it right now. It has
this
less
floats
than
under $1 million for you. I did you one better.
Yeah. So now with that in mind, it really makes sense to see why they have been a halt fest of a stock. You can go back to the previous days where this has moved. I think we even had some toward the end of June where it was moving quite a bit. This is something to be careful with because it's going to be rocketing, it'll be looking great, and then it'll probably halt, and then out of that halt, you're going to get completely smacked down. Be very careful with this one. Less than 1 million shares in the float, easy to run it up, but also just as easy to pull it right back down. I expect to see this one halt at least once or twice today.
Okay. And we will see if we got that yesterday. We'll see if we get that again here today. Really good stuff. Ticker LCFY. Okay. That's the first three. Next one here is going to be GDTC. This one's kind of a disappointment, at least so far. Cytomed Therapeutic shares are trading higher after the company announced that its subsidiary, IPSC Depository, acquired the license and certain assets in CellSafe International for approximately $490,000 to be funded from international cash resources. Lot of talk there. not a whole lot of greatness there, at least in my opinion. Stock did pop up to 5 here, so it had a huge move, but we've retraced 95% of this move, and we're kind of just trading lower here. We're totally beneath the VWAP. Maybe we do get a move back up to the VWAP. That's 40 cents away, so that'd actually be a pretty decent day trade on this $2 stock, but unsure necessarily if we get that here. This also fitting your criteria for being under 2 million shares in the float. On average, the stock trades 4,000 shares. Yes, you heard me, 4,000 shares. This morning it's traded 2.6 million. What do you got here on ticker GDTC?
So this acquisition of these particular assets were meant to help. It's it's T-cell technology development for solid and liquid cancers. So this is just, it's moving because, something, usually when a company acquires something, it's spending money. So that's not usually something that you see it run up on, unless the traders believe that this is a good acquisition. So this could be something, down the line that this, helps benefit the company. I believe that's why it's moving now. But for me, I'm not so sure that this is something that's going to end up doing as well as some of the other ones today, because as I said, they are spending money, not necessarily looking to gain some in the short term. So I think it could be good today. I really can't say, but I think this one is one we're going to have to really temper our expectations and be careful with.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that outlook. Given some of the other movers that we have here today, it's doubtful that I even actually consider this for a trade. But you know what? We'll see. We'll see what happens when the market actually opens. Jay Summers here, mixing the military alphabet phonetics with the police phonetics. Police Mary, military Mike. I don't even think I realized that I was doing that, or that was even a thing. Now, real quickly here, just so you guys can see, let's see if I can get this to work here. I actually have this little cheat sheet right over my monitor, this military alphabet cheat sheet. Now, I try to go from memory as best I can, but maybe given Jay Summers' feedback here, I really should just kind of stick to looking at that. The M1 was embarrassing because I should know that. I mean, 40 millimeter grenades are often referred to as 40 Mikes, and there's tons of stories from military personnel about that. So I shouldn't have even messed that up. Jay Summers, I'll try and be 2% better going forward here. Okay, next here, I do see that ASST is moving up. We will cover that, but I want to make sure I get to LGVN here because this is another one that has really been kind of a mover for us in the past, and then also recently. LGVN, this is Longeveron. Longeveron shares are trading higher after the company announced that the FDA granted fast track designation to Lomecel B for the treatment of mild Alzheimer's disease. We've discussed Alzheimer's a number of times. This is one of those diseases that causes stocks to spike when they have good news about it, and that's exactly what you're getting here on Longeveron. The stock popped as high as $5, came back in towards $4, has held there so far, about 30 cents, maybe 25 cents away from the VWAP here. So we'll see if we get a trade through the VWAP. We've watched this stock trade before. We've seen the stock move on momentum. Even if the stock has retraced part of its pre-market move, that this stock could easily go in the regular session here. And the other thing is that this stock, if it doesn't go right away, it actually might go a little bit later in the day. So this might be one of those afternoon plays that we can kind of wait on. 13, what do you got here for Longeveron? You don't look pleased at all.
It's not that I'm not pleased. I'm just trying to process what I'm reading here because I think this company is still sort of in the middle of their second phase of clinical trials with this this particular drug that's getting a fast track designation. When you look at the finances, it seems like they're going to need to raise cash. So if you're going to trade this, keep that in the back of your head that you might not want to be in this for too long. I don't know when they're going to raise cash. I can just tell you that in order to continue going with these clinical trials, they're going to need to do that unless some other investor comes in and starts, giving them cash or wanting to have some kind of special investment. The thing is that when you look at their balance sheet, they do not have they have less than $2 million in cash, and they are blowing through millions every quarter in order to conduct these clinical trials and develop their drug. They're going to need to raise money. So there could be an offering in this company at some point. Be careful.
Okay. Real good stuff there on LGVN. All right, let's go back to ASST here real quick. This is asset entities. This was popping and changing on the list when we just discussed the last one here. I actually didn't cover this one here this morning. I do see that we got a pop in the after hours yesterday, and then 2 pops on volume here today. Concerning thing is that we weren't ever really able to hold those pops. And we're actually beneath the VWAP here today. I don't see any fresh news today.
Only one reason it's moving, in my opinion.
What's that?
Recent reverse split.
Okay, so there you go. Yep, and even in this like morning shakedown article here, which sometimes lists what might be going on there, no other information here on why this stock is moving. That recent reverse split is really good. Short interest pretty low here, 13. I think you might be onto something. Ticker ASST. You got any levels for this one? I mean, this, I'll be honest, the action here today, not great. Not one that I kind of want to be in. We'll see if this turns around or firms up. But do you have anything here on ASST?
Just that reverse split I mentioned was a 1 for 5 on July 2nd. As far as levels go, we're at a level right now, I believe. Let's see, 192. Okay, so we're still not at the highs that we were putting in. I guess what was this, yesterday? Or today. So I would just go with what's the highs that we had from this morning. Those are going to be my levels. After VWAP, which is currently at 210, you're going to have 240 to 245, I guess. That's where I would be looking for the next upside targets. Like you said, though, I'm not sure about this one. MACD is showing that it's still possibly moving down, but if we're going to get support here, you're going to want to see the MACD start to curl. Be careful with this one. There's no real news on this one. It's just technicals because of the reverse split.
Yeah, and that level from yesterday in the after-hour session here, 13,217, that was your high level that we are beneath here today. Real quick, I actually had a couple of support sessions yesterday, and one of the themes from the users that were in there were, how do we know what to look for? How do we know what's good? How do we know what the right thing to actually trade is? And what I was trying to emphasize here is that there's not necessarily a right or a wrong selection. If you can make money off something, even if it's not really moving a whole lot, or if it's not doing what you think, you can make money, then that's the right thing. It's not necessarily a cut and dry answer here on some of these. Anyway, just thought I'd share that with the group. One more to cover here, or actually, sorry, 2 more to cover here real quick before we hop over and take a look at some of the other stocks you folks want to take a look at. First one here is going to be MLGO. We should all be familiar with this one. We've seen this a lot on the scanner here. This did pop this morning, went as high as about 406, came all the way back in. We're beneath VWAP, although we are curling and looking like we're trying to test that and take it out. We'll see if that gets done here today. I didn't think there was anything new here on micro algo.
Just that the short interest is quite high, and I'm trying to see if they did some kind of reverse split here.
And really quick about that short interest. So just to be clear, this kind of goes into what I was just saying there a second ago. Not necessarily a right or wrong answer. There's no fresh news here, but 13, looking at some of the other things that might be driving this: momentum, short interest, insiders. There's other stuff here that might not just be like a news headline, and that kind of plays into the whole. There's not necessarily a right or a wrong answer here. If MLGO shows a trade setup and you're able to trade that for a gain here, then that was the right one. Anyway, sorry for rambling there.
It's okay. It also looks like it kind of was basing, because ever since June 27th, it has just gone straight down. Red days every day until today.
Okay, here is your MLGO chart. Couple more that I wanted to mention here real quick. LPA, this is one of those South and Central American property companies. We've taken a look at this before. This thing gets halted. It's thin. It's often spread, but chart looks pretty good here. And then the other one that I wanted to quickly mention here is going to be Bloom Energy, right? This is ticker BE. Bloom Energy shares are trading higher after the company announced a strategic partnership with CoreWeave. So that popped yesterday in the after hours. We were as high as 1760. We've come in a little bit, but so far so good, kind of holding that level. If we take a look at the daily chart here, this is actually a pretty decent daily chart. We've kind of been in a downtrend. It looks like we're reversing that. We kind of come off this $8 base. Let's actually do one of these trend lines here. Okay, let's do this. Look at that. We've kind of invalidated this trend already. I was kind of sloppily drawn, but at least you get the idea here. Bloom Energy, we'll see if this provides us a trading opportunity here today as well. Okay, one more that I really quickly wanted to go into is going to be AEHR. Now, it wasn't a part of the big gainers there, but it is up here 12%, and this is up on earnings from yesterday. There's actually several things that were going on here. First of all, the daily chart on this looks great. Really kind of came off the bottom. Now here we are popping up to that 200-day. Keep that in mind when we open here. 2 minutes till we open. The news here, let me just roll through it here real quick. Financial results that were better than expected, beat on the top and bottom line. $12.7 million in orders for Fox Water Park, so a new contract as well. And then they also acquired a AI semiconductor company to try and stay competitive in that market. So a really good news drop for AEHR. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. I actually completely closed out my Val swing yesterday. That was an absolute monster, over 100% gain on the entire position. And I rolled some of those profits into calls for AEHR for earnings, and bang. So we should be able to start today off booking some gains here on the swing account. Should be a good day.
Really
we're less than a minute. Let's do it.
One thing that I'm getting some information on here from our happy hour chat is that, and I didn't notice this until just now, GitLab, GTLB.
Yes.
Trading higher following a report that suggesting the company is exploring a sale.
Yes.
Keep this on your radar.
Yeah, so this is actually one of the market-moving news items. Again, for all of you in Benzinga Pro, you had this news being spoon-fed to you at about 7 o'clock this morning. I know because I picked it. GTLB, indeed, you are exactly right. They're trading higher following a report that they're exploring a sale. Would love to hear from our tech people in here what you think about GitLab, the product itself, and who might be lining up for a potential acquisition of this company. Really good stuff here. We finished it. 10 seconds left. Boy, I tell you what, sometimes things are just lining up. Today seems like it's going to be one of those days.
All right. Well, what are you looking at first? We just opened. So what are you looking at first here? It looks like a lot of these that we were talking about this morning are kind of beaten down and look ready to turn around.
Well, I'm looking at the scanner here. First thing, AEHR. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Let me actually work on getting some of these gains booked here. Boy, that is above 20 now. Let's effing go on that. Let me just go ahead and get a limit order out there to sell part of this position.
That's a good point, Tom. It might also, get rid of all the ambiguity and confusion between the two.
Give me 1 sec here. I'll get right back to you guys. Got to manage this position out of the gate here. Probably should have had some of this stuff done earlier if you want to be technical. Okay, let you know if any of that fills. Let's get back to it. I'm going to flip over to Trade the Pool. The stream is sponsored by Trade the Pool, as you folks already know. So if you need help getting above the day trading threshold or need more dry powder, check them out. Trade the Pool. That's what we're going to use to execute trades here today. Okay, LGVN. Looks like this first move is up here towards the VWAP on LGVN. Wait, how is this possible? Oh, there we go. Okay. Well, those calls are all over the place. That stuff is repricing higher. You love to see it. You love to see it. Did I not get filled here?
Are you trading LGVN?
No, I'm trying to get some of my that's because I have it higher than that. Sorry.
Yeah, I had a really weird issue just now where I picked up LGVN to trade and it was doing great, but when I wanted to close the position,
there we go.
Doing that.
So yeah. So what's interesting is that we actually heard reports from our happy hour group that was happening to people in Thinkorswim recently. Big positions that couldn't be closed. So I haven't experienced that. What just happened to me is that I had the price set incorrectly. I did go ahead and take some gains here. Sold part of that position over 100% gain, 125%. On that move here. So awesome. I'm going to let this last one run. Let's see if AEHR can trade up a couple more points here. Yeah, we're doing fine today. We're doing fine today. Okay, let's try and focus on some day trading here. Again, I'm sorry about that. LGVN did make it to the VWAP, kind of stopped here, broke above it temporarily, but really kind of holding in there. I see Glenn mentioning Intel.
Yes, look at Intel.
Look at Intel here. So this one's really interesting. We had Trump making comments that maybe Taiwan should foot its defense bill or some of its defense bill. Obviously, that's going to adversely affect Taiwan Semiconductor and NVIDIA. You're seeing those stocks trading down here today, and that's positive for stocks like Intel. This stock absolutely ramping here. For those of you that were on with Dennis Dick in the pre-market, maybe send him a thank you card because he literally spoon-fed this trade to you, and now it's actually kept going past the open here. So big shouts there for Dennis on that call. Intel absolutely ripping here. That's what's going on.
Were you one of us that were buying Intel down here when it was going sideways in May and June?
No, I was one of the guys that was chipping in the first time we talked about Intel in a 25-26 handle. I did not get the reload on that move down, unfortunately.
Yeah, we were talking about this is a really good spot for a long-term play. So we were piling into this one, doing pretty good right now. We'll see how high this goes. I think we might run into resistance at the 200-day SMA.
I missed this earlier, and I'm sorry about that. Amanda, I appreciate this. This was a direct ask, and I appreciate you responding. I'm a GitHub girl, so I don't use GitLab, but I don't love the idea that Google would be getting out of its position in the Git space. They have a big share in GitLabs. Interesting. Okay, I'm not sure what to necessarily buy for that potential takeover, but that information is interesting nonetheless.
Yeah, that might result in a bit of a it could. I mean, I'm not saying it will, but a bid war if this is a really sought after company.
Yep. AEHR, boy, are we glad we got that fill on that impulse move up here. A little bit of a pullback right down to the VWAP. That's okay. Those calls are still going to be juiced here. By the way, I paid $150. Those are going to be for the August 17 and a half. So I paid $1.50 for the calls, or per call, excuse me. First one sold there at $4. Let's go.
ACHR, one that the EV toll company that I like. This one is trading back up this morning, and it's getting to a supply zone that was established toward the end of the day yesterday and the after hours. So we might see some resistance pretty soon here. As soon as it gets into the about just over 535, I think we'll start to see that resistance. Might really pick up at 540.
Okay. LCFY, I saw someone mention this here earlier. Sorry I didn't get to it earlier. This ripping away from the VWAP. Good news here on LCFY. This has completely taken out the pre-market highs. LGVN. That's what we want to see for some more movement here. Let me pull up LGVN. Let's see what we got. That also moving away from the VWAP 13. Let's go.
And the next level I have is 485. We broke that early in pre-market, got a little bit higher, went as high as 498. So I would say 485 to 5. 485 to 5. That's where we could see some resistance. We could also see it break out from there and start making a run over 5 into the 550 area, which is where the next level is.
Okay, really good stuff there on LGVN. Beck's mentioning DJT. We saw that moving around here. DJT ripping off of the open here. 13 and I, we were on this. I can't tell you where it's going to be or what exactly the price is going to be, but the entire week it's likely to be volatile. We're seeing that again here today. If you take a look at my hourly chart up here in the upper right, what we really want to see here is kind of a break above where we're at right now, right? We really just broke out of this consolidation area that's been going on on for the last day. Now we're right up to this consolidation area, at least the bottom of the range here. Next here would be a break above. Let me try and get you some actual numbers. A break above 39. We're only 20 cents away from that. That range probably closes at about 42.50. So you're likely to find some more resistance in that range. Let's see if we can break out of it. Sorry.
It's trying to break the high from yesterday morning, and it just did. If you look at what the high was from yesterday morning, it should be 38.72. That was the level it was just trying to break over, and it just did. Now it's ripping. Going to 40 with this momentum, I think.
Yeah. So this one, like I said, going to be active. And actually right now, just as I was going to say, the spread's not bad. It really kind of spread out. Looks like this is oscillating back and forth. Not terrible here. 5-cent spread. That's totally tradable. So be careful here. DJT, little bit of a pullback after setting some of those new highs. Tom Tran calling AEHR. Let's take a look here real quick. At this point now with gains booked, all I'm doing is managing the rest here. This actually sitting at $20 right above its VWAP. This might get rolling here again.
The after hours high in AEHR is currently providing support. That's what you're going to want to see hold in order for this to go higher. Don't really like these upper shadows that it's putting in right now out of the gate. But that area that I mentioned from the after hours yesterday, that's going to be your support until it either breaks down or reverses and goes higher.
Okay. Real good stuff there. Elon saying, hi, 13 and Ryan. I often find that these huge pre-market collapses dip by opportunities as they are supported by key levels. Stay green. Really good stuff there, Elon. Wait out the crazy moves. If it comes all the way back in and you've identified a key level there, that's the type of patience that you want to see. Really good stuff. You can apply that every day. Jay Rice mentioning that the IWM versus the Qs equals amazing. I would agree with that. This is the type of market we really wanted, right? I wanted there to be more than just 7 stocks that were pretty good. And that seems to be what we're seeing here today. IWM popping right off the open there. Q's telling a different story, trying to take the next leg down after a weak pre-market session.
ACHR on news. Let me take a look and see what that news is. Okay, they got a grant from California. They just love to give out money to these new energy companies, don't they?
I've stopped trying to figure out what California is doing.
Okay.
I like how calm you were about that. Okay, no problem.
Okay.
I don't really get it either, but whatevs.
Discussion over. Okay.
No, I mean,
I'm just kidding, man. LGVN all the way up to that 485 area. I guess it went a little bit higher to 488. Now coming back in. Not able to break out of the pre-market high. Slightly trading beneath VWAP. We'll see what happens here. Is currently at the support level of 445. If it can hold this and recapture VWAP, then we'll be looking to see if it can do better at its next attempt at breaking over the pre-market highs of 498.
I am seeing some calls being bought up in these tech names on this move down. So I'm seeing Apple having call buys on the unusual options, Netflix, SMCI, QCOM, Meta. I mean, I guess I should look into this a little bit more and see if they're selling those calls, but there's definitely some action in some of these calls here. By the way, Bitcoin, one of the things that we've seen, we saw a move down in Bitcoin recently, and more recently than that, we've actually seen a rebound here. Turns out that the JD Vance Veep pick is actually going to be excellent for Bitcoin. Trump clearly aligning himself with Bitcoin and Bitcoin fans as his administration is doing. That's one of the reasons why you're seeing the moves here in Bitcoin. This actually was up to 66,000 earlier this morning on the futures chart. Excuse me. We've softened off that level a bit, but still holding in here at 65K. CIFR being brought up here by Jonathan Cooper in the chat. This having a big rip out of the open here. That's going to be one of those mining names. Let's take a look and see what Mara and Riot are doing.
There's some news that I'm well, it's actually more of a rumor, so please take this with as much of a grain of salt as you can. Getting a rumor here that Chinese leader Xi Jinping has suffered a stroke during the third plenum meetings. That could be huge.
Holy cow.
Take this as a grain of salt because these are just rumors. So be very, very careful with this. Don't try to trade off of this, but just put this kind of like in your pocket for now. You've heard about this now. We have to wait and see if this is actually can be confirmed. It's going to be very hard with the CCP being what it is and letting information out. But if this rumor is true, then this could have some pretty far-reaching implications for the global economy. So just keep that in mind. Let's keep our ear to the ground. Let's not jump into anything too quick. But this is the rumor for now.
Is that from Happy Hour, Chad? Is that coming from here?
Yep.
You know what? That's actually and he provided the source like he often does. Here's the source for you folks. Dig into that. Let me know what you think.
Yeah. So be very, very careful with this. Okay. This is a rumor.
Hey, 13 though. Thank you for interrupting. Shout on that one. That would be something else if that ends up being true, dude. That would be something else.
I may have sold all my car options too early. Uh-oh, what's going on?
I'm just seeing what the noise was outside. I get water delivery, and I thought that's what it was, but it looks like someone's moving in my building. Okay, let me roll. Look at AMD. Another leg down here in AMD. This kind of goes back to what Jay was talking about earlier with the tech. Looking around here real quick, trying to see what else is going on. Let's take a look at Bloom Energy. That was one that moved after hours yesterday. Okay, so already I got to say, I do like this right here, right? Bloom trying to hold in here. A little bit of a dip right out of the gate, but buyers stepping in here. It'd be great to see if this can move higher out of this consolidation area. BE so far looking all right. OKLO, this is another one. We talked about this yesterday. Someone in here, again, I think it was Gerald. Correct me if I'm wrong, but one of you guys was on this one. I'll tell you what, this stock seems to be a buy in that low to mid eights. Looks like you can almost always get a move back to the mid nines. That might be something we can trade back and forth. Ticker OKLO.
Ella asking, can we look at CLSK and Mara? I just took a look at those, and let me take a quick gander over here at Bitcoin for some reference. So with these two, they've had a pretty good week so far. So maybe we're just seeing a little bit of cooling. At the same time, we're also seeing Bitcoin now trading underneath 65,000. These are going to both be, trade very much closely with how Bitcoin trades. So now that we're under 65,000, which has been a pretty strong level of resistance in the past, you can see by looking to the left, that's going to be a level that needs to be recaptured. But at the same time, Mara and CLSK, they also have had some really good runs. I think they need to cool off a bit. I don't know how low they'll go. For me, I think somewhere slightly beneath 25 for Mara, and for CLSK, I would probably say somewhere underneath 1850 might be the pullback levels after these moves. We want to see these continue to move up, of course. It's just that we don't want to see them completely turn around and drop here. And that would be the concern I have with both of these, because they are kind of putting, well, maybe not so much Mara, but CLSK has been putting in some peaks over the last several months. It runs up, gets up to this particular level around just over 20, and then it comes right back in. So that would be the thing I'd be concerned with Mara. I'm sorry, with CLSK. With Mara, though, this one is breaking out into new, looks like 3-month highs. I don't know what to make of Mara like I do with CLSK, but like I said with Bitcoin, just keep that on your radar for how that trades. I think as soon as we get back over 65,000, you'll start to see these recover and maybe start to trade up a bit. But you need to just keep an eye on what Bitcoin does, because it's going to translate into what these two do.
Both Mara and CLSK are doing everything they can to bounce off the VWAP here. CLSK already did that. Mara's actually still kind of flirting with that, really refuses to break down beneath it. So kind of keep an eye there on that level. LGVN, what do you think of LGVN at this level? I really do like that it came into the consolidation area here. What I'd be looking at here is maybe a bottom of about $4. Current price here, 421. So I would sort that risk out any way that you can handle. One of the things that I'd also like to see here, not respective to levels is I want to see this volume kind of pump back up a little bit. We saw it pump out of the open. We saw how the stock reacted to that, but now we're on the backside of that move. So maybe wait this out until we see some more volume flowing in here. That could actually give you a decent entry at this level, ticker LGVN.
There's two supply zones for LGVN that are starting to fall into, and one begins from the pre-market yesterday, pre-market and after hours yesterday. So that's going to be just under $4. So if we get down there, and we also have the 65 EMA at 393. So that's kind of lending some credibility to the idea that that particular level, just under 4, might be a good support area. If we lose that, then I have 367. Just beneath 367 is where there's another set of supply zones. So those would be the two areas where you could potentially either get a bounce trade or reversal. That's what I'd be watching for there.
Okay, and real quick, a lot going on while you were talking there. Real fast, Jay saying there's no selling in the regional banks. KRE shows that here. Nothing but green candles on those regional banks. Let me know which ones are your favorite. By the way, some of those regional banks that Tim gave you should be reacting positively to that. I'll just leave that one out here. Also, Amex, Brad, this is a good mention here. We saw Amex moving earlier. The big move happening right now. We're actually trading up. This is the level that we kind of stopped at before. Again, if you look at the hourly chart here that I've got, this area between 145 and 185, that 40-cent range in there, really where the stock slowed down. That's where we're at right now here, ticker AMIX.
To your question about where do the best regional banks to look at for this move? Who was the one that Steve? Is it
Mnuchin, NYCB?
Yeah. Okay. So that one's had a really. I brought that one up because I thought that's what it was. That's had a really good move this morning.
Yeah.
This one's been really beaten up because I believe they were at risk of going under. So if we have this sentiment coming up where rate cuts are going to help save these regional banks and maybe take pressure off of them being on the wrong side of rates, this could be really good for the really beaten up names like this one. And they have a lot of really good technical levels as well. If we start to move up through here beyond 12, there's a tiny gap to fill, but there's an even bigger one once we get up into the 20s. Looks like it's from 20. Sorry, give me 1 second here. 150 to about 3110. So that could be a big gap fill. There's a couple of there's another even earlier gap back from March 23 that we just completely blew past on the way down back in February this year. So big gap areas to fill on the way up with NYCB. This is definitely the one to watch in my opinion as far as regional banks go.
Indeed, that has a pretty attractive price as well. Lion Atlas suggesting Ozark, Bank of the Ozark, ticker OZK here. That had a great day yesterday. It's continuation here today. We've actually completely filled the gap that was created here right up to about 46. Another resistance level coming at about 49.5 here. This is what's going on with ticker OZK.
So it's kind of running up into earnings. What do you think? Would you hold this into earnings?
Hold what? I'm sorry. Let me
hold OZK into earnings.
Would I? See, I don't have. It's tough. The bank trade has been a tough one. It's tough for me to sit on that. I would rather buy something that hasn't run like this into earnings. 13. I would try to take a look for something else. NYCB. I know we kind of reverse split. We're running here. I think I might like this one a little bit more. I don't know much about OZK, so that's kind of the caveat there. Regional banks clearly one of the good good sectors.
If OZK is going to do anything, it's going to squeeze. It's got 12.9% float shorted, 8.57 days to cover. So that puts it into the candidacy for a squeeze.
Yeah, you're right. Right about that.
Oh, okay. So you will hold this into the okay.
Oh, you were asking him. I'm sorry.
I was asking both of you, but he said that he's going to hold it. So that answered. I got both my questions answered.
Robert here looking like he's going to sell OZK here prior to earnings.
IWM just ripping. this is now we're getting extended in this sector, this ETF.
We were actually talking on happy hour as recently as yesterday about a potential regression back to the mean move here in some of these indices that have really had outsized moves. I totally get it, right? I get maybe trying to play some puts here on the IWM, trying to get this to come back in. Looks like we're having a change in sentiment, though. I don't know when that ends. I don't know where the top is here. And thankfully, I'm long a lot of small caps, so that's not really an issue. Really good stuff going on here this morning. I'll tell you what, really, really good stuff. Might take a look at getting out of the rest of this AEHR. Boy, that was a good one. That was a good one. We'll take that. Let's see if we can get out of this one here.
Lion, yeah, I know that NYCB has some problems. That's my concern with them, and I don't know enough about OZK to really say if they're better than NYCB or not. One thing that I'm liking right now, and I'm sure that you are too, Ryan, FMC and basic materials have been doing really well lately.
Indeed, I'll be honest, the ads on this as this was moving down was still helpful. I'm actually still down on this position, but nothing that I'm worried about. Also have more of a long-term view on FMC here. So dollar cost averaging on weakness, not something that I'm against for this particular trade setup. So the things looking okay here in FMC. Glad we were adding to that on days where it was down. Beck's mentioning GME here. Someone else had mentioned GameStop as well. That looks like that is moving here. I'm going to stay away from this. I'm going to trade some of the better names here today.
Another stock that we talk about frequently because we're still kicking ourselves for not getting into it early enough is LMB, Limbach Holdings.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about, oh yeah, as soon as the next pullback happens, we'll probably end up getting it. Well, that happened when it was under 60 and trying to break out. That should have been the ad because now it's over 65. This thing is insane. This is basically HVAC for a variety of applications, industrial, commercial. We're going to need companies like this, and because we're going to continue to get hotter. We're going to need more air conditioning. This is the company that's going to really provide it to the businesses, in my opinion. So
yeah,
this is a really good one. I just am waiting for a better pullback than what we've been getting, but it doesn't seem like it pulls back too much before it rips some more. I think the biggest pullback we got was back in 23 when it was. I think October was probably the best time to have gotten this one.
TSM here, this is getting mentioned by a couple of you folks. This is continuing lower here. We already discussed the move there.
Yeah.
Jay mentioning coin here at the highs. Remember those Bitcoin names? That was a theme that we talked about. Jay's Life talking about AbbVie. This actually looks like a pretty good breakout here on the daily chart right above this 173. I'm not buying swing trades on candles like this, but love to see this move happen. If we come back and hold the top end of this range here, let's call that 173, 174. Actually might be pretty decent. There's a nice looking daily chart here. Okay. It is 9. Boy, a lot of the smoke is still ripping here. Tell you what, the regular port doing great yet again. I'm not used to having multiple days in a row here where it's just awesome, but I'll take it. It is 9:55 here. You know what that means. 9:55 on a Wednesday. 10 a.m. on a Wednesday, thereabouts. That means it's time for Mr. Melvin. Tim, how you doing on this Wednesday, dude?
I'm doing great. I turned in a couple seconds ago, and for just a minute there, I thought I was on one of my own calls because, just like that, you guys mentioned 3 of my stocks.
Okay, awesome.
Okay.
Okay, great. So it looks like we're pretty lined up here today.
Yeah,
what are we taking a look at here today, Tim?
Okay, well, we're going to get to the uranium because I promised I would, but let's start with Limbach Holdings because that's one of mine.
Let's go.
Right? And we actually put that out to readers a year ago, a little over a year ago, actually, because it triggered the twin momentum signal. In a small cap model. And by the way, Ryan, you and I are reproducing this model for Benzinga Pro. We're going to put the exact model and all the picks on there that pick Limbach. But kids, we bought Limbach at $11.50. right?
That's the reason he's reacting like that is because when we first started taking a look at this, I think it was like $6 to $8.
It was
and we
6 or
never
8
really
bucks,
pulled the trigger. We never really pulled the trigger on it. And then doing that at 11, you must be pretty happy with this holding.
Oh, how could you not be in a year, right?
Exactly.
And what everybody kind of missed in this one was that they're an HVAC contractor and they're doing business. They're supplier. They're selling to contractors, which is an okay business, right? And then somebody at the company got the idea that, look, this is stupid. We're selling this stuff to contractors for cost plus. They're taking it out and marking it up and doing business with the big building owners. Why in the hell don't we just go to the building owners? We can install and service the stuff. They did that. It's more than 50% of the business, but the margins exploded. And it's HVAC, it's builder modernization. They've got a big role to play in smart buildings, in energy efficient buildings. This is going to be a massive stock. By the way, they're also going to have a role to play in kind of the industrialization and robotification, I guess I'll call it, of warehouse space, industrial space.
Okay.
So these guys have a massive role. The company's just getting started.
Okay.
So, and then, come on, guys, you really had a conversation about banks without checking with me?
Well, we didn't. No,
Really?
see, what we did was we set the table for you because we knew you were coming on to set us straight. OZK was one of them being mentioned.
I mean, this is the kind of stuff you used to get sent to the principal's office for. You just don't do it. You don't talk about banks without me.
I'm not going back to the principal's office, Tim. I'll tell you that much.
OZK is Bank of the Ozarks. It's one of the most aggressive lenders out there. Okay. These guys will take a shot 100% of the time. There's been a couple times where they danced on the edge of really being in big trouble. Okay. They are dancing on that edge again. Now the stock is going up because lower interest rates might bail them out, but they've got two massive projects that are in trouble. Okay. One is a mixed use property in Atlanta. It's huge. It's, in the billions. They're having trouble leasing it up. Obviously interest rates have gone up on some of the construction loans and some of that. So it's a problem project. Then they've got a life sciences project that they're financing out in the San Diego area. It's nearing completion. There's no tenants.
That sounds bad.
No, it's bad. But I'm going to say this. The CEO, Mr. Gleason, he's been super hyper aggressive his entire career, and he's gotten away with it.
So, okay. So you've mentioned that they've kind of done this before and been okay. You think that could probably happen here again in this case?
I'll put it this way. I'm not betting on it. I won't own the stock because their exposure to high risk commercial construction is a problem. Look, it's real simple. Okay. And Johnny Allison at Home Bank Shares has perfected this, HOMB. The way to be consistently and even spectacularly profit over the long run as a banker is to not do stupid things. Okay.
Be conservative, it sounds like.
Yeah. It's banking is one of those businesses where you actually get rewarded for being really conservative. My problem with OZK is if one of these big loans goes boom, you're not going to really know about it as a trader investor till they halt the stock.
Right. It seems like that puts too much risk into actually holding this one.
For owning a bank, there's more risk in OZK than I've ever wanted to have. So now NYCB.
Well, real quickly here, before we move to NYCB, from the chat here, Jay Rice mentioning OZK. It's been attacked by shorts for years. We take a look at the short interest here. 13% of the float shorted here. 8.5 days to cover on OZK.
I have no interest in shorting the stock. Let me be clear. I just don't want to own it. Okay. The shorts have attacked it. And I'm going to tell you, in a normalized interest rate environment, the shorts would have been right. Okay. But they've really benefited from ridiculously low interest rates where a lot of stuff that shouldn't have worked. Now, does that mean the bank is going to blow up? I don't know. But there's an above average chance. And I've been investing in bank stocks for 30 years. And it's always made sense and worked out well to avoid the higher risk situations.
Gotcha.
Every time I've broken that rule, gotten kicked in the teeth.
And that's no fun.
No.
Believe me.
Now, a situation that's actually not higher risk, that is disguised, and the market will tell you it's higher risk, and God knows the stock has acted like higher risk, is New York Community Bank, NYCB. Now, New York Community Bank was growing towards 100 billion. They didn't expect to be over it for a couple of years. Okay. The regulators came in and said, hey, we got all these loans from Signature Bank we could use for you. You know, if you would buy them, you'd be doing us a favor. Okay. So they bought them. And the OCC's got people in the building. They're right there, the regulators, looking over this transaction, making sure everything's done perfectly. The transaction takes them over 100 billion, which is a line in the sand from regulatory purposes. So the regulators immediately looked at NYCB and said, guys, thank you so much for buying those loans and fixing our problem. Now, you need to immediately make these changes to everything that you are doing because you've got new regulations that you must meet. Now that you're over 100 billion, they gave them no time, no window, no warning. So the bank took a bunch of write-downs, didn't just surprise the market, it surprised the bankers. Okay. They didn't expect this. They expected a little more leeway from the bankers, from the regulators. However, post SIVB and Signature Bank and Silvergate, where they did drop the ball, the regulators, they really screwed the pooch on all four banks that failed in 2023. They're hypersensitive. So NYCB was hurt by that. Now, when we get into this, the facts of the matter are they do have a problem with commercial real estate and apartment loans in New York City. Okay. There's going to be some delinquencies. There's going to be some charge off. Rent control is an issue. However, they already had enough money set aside. They had over $1 billion in loan loss reserves. Now, so they were going to make it anyway. It was going to be tough. There's going to be struggle. It was going to be bouncy and ugly, and profits were going to be terrible, but they were going to make it. Here comes Mnuchin. He sees the opportunity. He was Treasury Secretary. He knows this bank inside and out. He's got people on his team that were part of the banking environment, the banking industry, that were part of the regulatory side. They know the bank too. They put another $1 billion in on top, replaced the management team. Look, these guys think like private equity. The whole deal is here, let's dress this thing up, fix it up, exit at a much higher multiple. And that's exactly what they're going to do. So there's nowhere near the risk in NYCB that is currently pricing or that the instant banking experts are telling you. This bank has more than enough capital to survive whatever happens in New York City over the next year. You get rate cuts, improvements in New York City real estate, this stock will double off this base rapidly.
I was going to say the price level that this thing is at looks pretty good. You also have a volume shelf right down here. So this looks like a pretty good setup where it's at. Great to hear that stuff, Tim.
Yeah. And by the way, the preferred stocks here are layup, just absolute slam dunk. Trading at $19 with an 8.5% yield. They're I got to pitch this one. So they're fixed to floating rate, guys. So right now you get an 8.5% yield. In 2027, it goes to a variable rate yield. If it happened today, the yield would be 12. If we get 8 consecutive interest rate cuts, from the Fed between now and 2027, you're still going to get a reset that's going to be almost 10%. Okay. That's going to be very expensive capital for the bank. They're going to refi it out. So your best case here is you get 8.5% today for 2 years. Then you get a pop from 19 to 25 when they pay it off. Worst case, you got a preferred stock that's paying you 12.5% on your cost. I think I'm okay with either outcome.
Yeah, I was going to say neither of those really sound terrible, so I'll be all right with that. Okay, so good thing we didn't just completely muck it up when we were discussing banks. I appreciate you coming in here and setting us straight. Let's move to the uranium names. What do you got on that?
Well, look, I mean, nobody's been more bullish on uranium than me. That's just a fact. And again, I talk as an investor, not a trader. All right, my limited attempts at trading looked a lot like my limited attempts at playing third base. You know, it sounded good. It just didn't go well. So,
real fun position, but you need to have a cannon of an arm to play third base.
Right. So, there's no cannons here. From an investor's point of view, we've been extremely bullish on uranium. Okay. And I don't know why, but the politicians of the Western Hemisphere seem resistant to what's clear to everybody else or anybody that's rationally looking at energy. It makes sense to have cleaner energy. Building towards a renewable future makes an enormous amount of sense.
Indeed.
No matter how you feel about climate change. Okay. It's more, if you achieve renewable energy 100% someday, it's more secure, it's safer, it's cleaner. There's a lot, and it's cheaper in the long run when we get there. We're not there. We're at least 50 years from there. So if I see it, I don't want to see it. That's too low. I'll be too old. But, you know, and hopefully my grandkids live in this 100% renewable world. But the path was always natural gas to nuclear, to a world of nuclear and renewable. Now, no matter how much you are influenced by Chernobyl, the miniseries, which has actually an awful impact on people's opinions of nuclear energy. 3 Mile Island, which I lived close to 3 Mile Island at the time. I was 80 miles away in Baltimore. Fukushima, all horror stories, right? But if you go back and look at the actual history of nuclear energy, there is a very grim statistic out there called deaths per terawatt hour that looks at all of the forms of energy as to how many people die producing this energy every year. The only thing safer than nuclear is solar. Sun doesn't shine at night. So the cheapest, greenest, safest fuel that we have available to us is nuclear energy, but we've resisted it. Now, China hasn't. It's a race to see if China builds more coal or nuclear plants in a given year, right? Because they're just trying to drive everything higher. So I'm super bullish and have been since like 2019 on uranium and on nuclear energy. We need more nuclear plants in the United States. Okay. Bar none. No question. And everybody's pointing at the new Vogtle plant in Georgia as the beginning of the Renaissance. But that plant was permitted, as we talked about last week, in 2009 by Southern Company. Okay. The regulatory and construction and cost delays in this thing have been astronomical. It's like 3 times the projected cost is what this thing was finished at finally this year. So we need to get more efficient and better at building nuclear power plants, but we're turning them back on. Europe's turning them back on. Even the Germans are going, well, maybe we screwed up. So you're seeing nuclear energy become the fuel of choice more and more around the world, which is uber bullish for uranium. Now, also take into consideration that there's a new buyer in the uranium market, and they're buying a lot of it. And they started showing up in 2018, and it's hedge funds. They're buying, taking delivery, and storing particularly yellow cake uranium. Same with my favorite uranium trust holding, and that's the Sprott Uranium Trust. The symbol's SRUUF. It's not a company. It's just a great big warehouse full of yellow cake uranium.
Our, as you'll notice the banner at the bottom too, our Sprott advertiser would love that this is one of your favorite ones. So real good stuff there. By the way, appreciate you, chat. As we're having this discussion, SPY and the Qs plunging to the lows here. Tim, I'm sorry for interrupting.
Oh, no, that's okay. That's important information. Folks need to know that. So I'm super bullish. I keep an eye on Cameco, CCJ, although it's down sharply today. This stock all year has been a pretty good twin momentum stock. Right. I mean, earnings are moving higher, and it's attracting institutional interest that's been bringing it up. But I mean, you've got it on your chart there. It exceeded the upper end of the Bollinger Bands, plunged back through it. That's kind of bearish short term. But if this thing starts exhibiting momentum, then I think you can own it. You have somebody mentioned LEU.
Real quick, before we move to LEU, CCJ has been a favorite amongst this group. Jay Rice here from the chat has made a ton of money this year just trading CCJ. One of the things that we've noticed recently is that every time this thing dips under 50, it's really kind of been a good buy. So it'll be interesting to see if that keeps up here or if maybe the sentiment changes. Current price here on CCJ, 49.22. So we are actually below that 50. You wanted to move to LEU here?
Yeah, LEU. I mean, look, I can make you a case for owning LEU. The stock is not expensive. They're one of the leading uranium suppliers in the world. Certainly domestically, enriched uranium. They're kind of the company. They've got contracts with most of the major utilities. The stock's not expensive. They've got a little bit more leverage than I like. There's a lot of competitors. It's a long lead time, but it's a good business. So I can make you a case for owning that stock. It's not exciting. They supply uranium. So it's not been caught up in the story stock or any of that. But I think a long-term holder, you can do well owning it. I would not be surprised to see a Brookfield or a KKR come in and just buy the whole company at some point.
Okay.
It is a good business you could do a lot with. Now, as uranium investors right now, we have a problem. Okay. And the problem is the hype machine is here. Okay. If I call it the Charles Street hype machine because of all the publishers up and down Charles Street in Baltimore that have run big promotional campaigns on uranium lately to sell their newsletters. Now, when I came into the business, I worked for Dean Witter as a broker. Mm-hmm. And the old joke was that if Dean Witter bought out a mutual fund in a sector, that was the dead top. Okay. The same thing for my entire career, pick something, cannabis, doesn't matter what it was. When the newsletters get excited about it and start using it as the centerpiece of their promos, you're topping. Okay.
Good indicator there.
And we're seeing, and here's how you know, right? People, they're hyping, you got to buy the nuclear utilities because of the nuclear renaissance. For the utilities, this is an expense, not a benefit for at least the next decade. Now, remember, there are some plants being talked about, but when you look at the permitting of nuclear energy plants in the United States, it's not happening. We're turning them back on. We're recommissioning some plants. We're not building plants at this point in time. So the hype machine is here, and you got a lot of hype in the stocks. We touched on SMR last week. Mm-hmm. Small modular reactors, great idea. We're not there yet. We're probably a decade away from those things actually being a big part of the energy business. So if you look at the stock, they have no contracts. They're having discussions. They have research facilities. There's no revenue to this business beyond interest they've got in the bank from the SPAC deal a couple years ago. Right? So these guys aren't generating any revenue. So how do you put a value on that? You can't. So as a trader, good luck. The thing's obviously got a lot of volatility, which is what traders live for. Yep. So, but I would have such a tight stop on that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, this seems almost more of a trading vehicle at this point than kind of a longer. Maybe if things change there on the fundamental side, this might change into a more long-term play. But to me, this just seems like a trading vehicle.
Right. Yeah, it's like NNE. Same thing going on here. It's totally 100% a nanonuclear. Yes, it's totally a story stock. They've got some stuff that they're working on that if it comes on, it'll be pretty cool. They've hired a lot of smart people. This is like a clinical stage biotech. Okay. As a matter of fact, it's exactly like a clinical stage biotech. They've got an idea. They're working on the idea. They got a lot of smart people working on the idea, and they're hiring more smart people. They will have to raise money each and every year of their existence, whether it's a new equity, which is going to just dilute you down, or if they use debt, it's going to lever up the balance sheet, introduce all kinds of new risks to this deal. It's interesting. You keep about half an eye on it. I wouldn't even trade this one, right? And okay. The simple reason is, yep, it's volatile, it's crazy, it's all over the place, but this is one of those stocks that, like OZK, the big risk is you're long this thing with a stop. Let's say you're long the stock and you've got to stop at 20. Okay, so you don't have a lot of risk, right? You're going to get stopped out, small loss from where we are today. Then it gets halted because not only didn't the technology work, it went boom. Okay, now the stock's going to open at 5. So your stop did you no good. So this is where I see the risk in nuclear energy stocks right now. There's just too much hype. Now, if you look at uranium, I want to be long uranium, which is why I like the Sprott Trust. And I had no idea you were advertising with them today. Good move on somebody's part.
Shout out, Zunaid.
Kazakhstan is just put a tax, and they're one of the largest producers. They put a tax on uranium extraction, and they're going to raise that tax next year. Russian uranium is banned at this point in time in most of the West. So you've got a shortage developing in uranium because we may not be building a lot. We are extending the life of and turning some old plants back on. Europe is turning old plants. I mean, look at even Germany, who thought they were going to go genius and be 100% green and turned all their nukes off. Well, Bayer threatened to leave the country because of what happened with electricity costs. So even they're thinking, okay, well, maybe we should just turn these back on and quit burning wood. China and India have the most plants under construction of anybody in the world. I mean, uranium demand is going to continue to go up.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
We can avoid all the hype and all the garbage and all the risk and just keep buying uranium. Now, be aware that some of the best trades I ever made in my life, and I'm talking just unbelievable returns, were from nuclear utilities in the 1980s that experienced devastating cost overruns, and the debt and preferred securities traded down at pennies on the dollar of par. Because they're regulated industries, we all ended up getting paid off at par plus all the back interest, and it was just this ridiculous amount of money. So eventually, all of the nuclear energy companies that get involved in building the plants, they're going to see cost overruns. They're going to have terrible headlines. The stocks are going to sell off. And the same guy that's here telling you not to buy that stuff today, I'll be back on. We'll have our usual "How dare you talk about banks without me" discussion, and then I'll recommend a whole bunch of nuclear utilities that are trading below book value, and we'll all make a lot of money together.
Tim, as far as some of the things behind the thing with these nuclear utilities go, could we look elsewhere at certain companies that are going to really benefit from the nuclear space expanding, like let's say water companies that are going to be used to help cool these reactors, and they're going to need to be used in order to produce the electricity? Like, where are these water utility companies that you'd be looking at for the uranium plays?
Well, to be honest, most of them are using rivers. Yeah, it's like the Constellation Energy play in Calvert County near my old house. They used the Chesapeake Bay, and they brought the water into the intake. So,
but like let's say the Palo. Is it Palo Alto in Arizona?
And
what's the big one in Arizona? I'm trying to
Mesa something.
Anyway, so it's, one like that would really need water infrastructure to be built out.
That's an interesting idea, and I haven't talked about it because I'm assuming, if memory serves, they got that from the Colorado River, which again required a lot of infrastructure.
Yeah, and the Colorado River is, when we get into drought situations, the states, that rely on that, like California, Arizona, and New Mexico, and all those, they run into some serious problems. So, I'm wondering if there's a way we can position ourselves for when the next drought happens. When we're talking about uranium getting built out, they need that water. Water is going to be very, very important one day, and uranium is going to only exacerbate that. And so are these data centers and chip fabs we're building out as well. I was just curious if you had anything in that particular sector that would be beneficial to getting in ahead of these uranium plays.
Beyond Pico Holdings, I haven't done anything with water in a long time, just because it wasn't, but of course I've owned Pico forever, PICO, they own water rights. So I haven't done any work on that. So let me not jump out and say, this is what you want to do. Now, one of the things we're going to be watching very closely, it's the same thing we've done with data centers, who's building them. Right now, remember, don't go running out and buy construction companies right now today, because there's no permits. Right? I mean, we got to kind of know where they're going to be and what construction companies are doing business in that area. But obviously, companies like Fluor are going to be a major beneficiary of this. So there are going to be all kinds of sidebar plays. For now, in the United States, no real discussions about new plants going on. I won't buy Chinese stocks, so I don't even look at them. But, obviously China and India construction companies, I got to assume the Tatas have something going there, TATA. So I would be, and Reliance Industries probably has something going there in India. So I would be looking at Indian electrical construction companies. I would be avoiding the major utilities in the United States right now. I mean, you've had so much hype get into these stocks in the last 6 months related to uranium and related to the energy demands of data centers. And everybody's like, oh boy, they're just going to make so much money. And yeah, maybe. I mean, you're seeing a lot of side deals get cut for private generation facilities by Amazon, by Microsoft, the bypassing the utilities. I think the big money there is really in natural gas if you're trying to play data center energy. And furthermore, it's down the road. Okay, as to where those profits start to show up. And you've had these utilities, if you look at them, Duke, Southern Company, Entergy, they've gotten bid up. These are not widows and orphans stock right now, although I think they could create some widows. They're kind of pricey. So, and I don't, at 25 times earnings, I don't want to buy a utility. Now,
Gotcha.
I will say this, I'd have to check my trading records back into the 80s to be sure. But to the best of my knowledge, and with 20 years of records that I can access pretty quickly, I've never lost money in an electric utility. I've always bought them in bear markets under book value.
So you got really good entry on those.
Yeah, really good entry and really good valuations. And, when paying 2 and 3 times book to get a 3% dividend just does not strike me as the smart play.
Gotcha. Okay. Tim, really good stuff. Yeah. Thank you very much. Really, really good stuff here. We're going to keep some of this stuff on the back burner. And when some of these things materialize, we are going to bring you back for the recap of that. Real quick. I am out of here tomorrow. We're going up to Boston and Maine. The market's rallying. All my stocks are going up. There's only one thing to do: get the hell out of town. So I'm not tempted to sell them. So no, it's my wife's birthday. We're going up to the beach in Maine. We're going to do the history stuff down in the Boston area. So I will actually be on an airplane flying back next Wednesday. So I'll be out. Okay. Well, you know what? I think that might disappoint some people, Tim. So you know what we'll do? First of all, I want you to promise me that you're going to enjoy your vacation, and happy birthday to your wife. But maybe we can fit you in for something on Friday if you're up to it. Let's stay in contact there.
You know what? Pencil it in, man. We're good. Let's do it.
Okay. That was it. Tim, you're the absolute best. We really, really appreciate it. Again, enjoy that time away. Happy birthday to your wife, and we'll catch you at some point next week. All right.
All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see y'all next week.
Take care, Tim. That is Tim Melvin. I did post a link to the Universe webinar. I'm telling you, he's awesome and he's hilarious. I know I'm a little bit jealous. He's going up there to celebrate with his family. I'd like to sit down and have a beer with him. Can you imagine how good that evening would be? That'd be a ton of fun there. So okay.
Yeah, I'd want to retain all the information, so I don't know if I'd have a whole lot of
I'm
beer.
not sure how many beers I'd actually have because I forget it. No, I got you there. You know what else you could do? Ask for permission, get a little recorder, and then play it back when you're sober. Okay. Besides that, I know there was a lot of stuff going on while we were having that discussion, but sorry, folks, longer term plays, that is my jam. We are going to keep having that discussion. What is it that you folks here are seeing moving around quite a bit? I did see some of the, go ahead.
Chris Beasley brought up Jacobs Solutions, ticker J. And I'm kind of wondering, maybe I must have missed him talking about this because it has had an awesome past 5 days. Like a really awesome past 5 days.
Yeah, it sure has. This is a huge move here.
So, this is interesting. I'm going to have to, pay more attention to this. We're actually going to be getting close to breaking out into new all-time highs at this one. Looking at a longer-term time frame, this is starting to curl up, and yeah, it's looks like this is going to try it for 160 at some point soon.
Speaking of 160, Amex here from our list this morning. This pushing that is from our list right here, right out of the open. I beg your pardon. This is now the third impulse move to the highs here on Amex. It is stopping there at 160. I see a little bit of size above there at 165. We'll see if this falls here. Amex, this has been a great one for those of you that that I've been trading this one here today. Tom mentioning MLGO. Is that moving here again? Indeed. It looks like this came off the bottom. We had a nice pre-market here. Been kind of a disappointment, but now we've got that pop back to VWAP. One of the other stocks that I've been watching here, not one of the day trading ones that we've been talking about, but it's Chipotle. Oh my, Chipotle continuing to move to the lows. At some point, this is going to be a good buy. We talked a lot about Chipotle. Hey, maybe this sells off after the split. Maybe this kind of induces a sell-off in a larger market. And while we haven't got a tremendous sell-off in the market outside of the tech names here for that rotation, look at Chipotle. Oh, wrong chart. Let me give you this chart here. Look at Chipotle here. I think we're probably coming into this $52 level. That's going to be your 200-day. I actually have a humongous volume shelf beneath it at 46. We'll see if we get some support here. 52, also one of the recent volume shelves here. So CMG, at some point, this is going to be a buy. Let's let this hunt the lows first, though.
Yeah, that's looking pretty good. This is what we were looking for post split. So maybe it gets down to that 200, consolidates, and then it has earnings that help make its next move, whichever direction that may be.
Glenn saying still short. Glenn, are you still short to Chipotle? Because if so, that is a monster trade, and that absolutely deserves a registering. I'm assuming you've been paying yourself on the way down there. Now that I've mentioned Chipotle 3 times in 30 seconds, I'm all of a sudden hungry.
Do you have breakfast?
No, I don't eat breakfast. I normally just extend my fast from the night before.
Gotcha. ASST breaking out over the 65 EMA, coming up into some of this pre-market consolidation.
Okay, that's almost up to VWAP here. See what else we got rolling on here. Go back to my scanner real fast. AVPO, that's that penny stock for you penny players out there. Shim, we talked about this one. This is that water play, Shimmick. This actually moved back above its VWAP and so far holding in there. Lion Atlas would like to alert us that he is green on FMC. Lion, your ads were real good now. This thing having a great day here today. I'm actually still down a little bit, but nothing that I'm concerned about, that's for sure. Made some really good strides back here as well. By the way, I am all out of AEHR, so that trade, that was just an earnings overnight trade. Big winner there, 100+% on that trade. We'll look to redeploy that cash elsewhere. AMIX, this was one from the list here that's still holding the highs. I'm just rolling through my relative volume scanner here. CGC, looks like some of the pot names moving here. CGC moving higher. Did we have news on this? Tilray moving higher. What do we have here pot news-wise, guys? What did I miss? Let's take a look here at the news feed. Wednesday, this is from 10/22. President Biden Expo says, I'm making sure no one goes to jail for mere use or possession of marijuana. Their record should be expunged. It's time we right those historic wrongs. Boy, you better talk to Kamala and see what she thinks, because she put more people in jail for that than anyone else. So that's an interesting headline here. However, what that's doing is that is driving all of these pot names to the highs. Not sure if we're going to get more of a move from this. From here, but clearly these stocks are reacting, all of those pot names. Stay focused, asking me for okay, so I'm going to give you a couple of thoughts here on Schwab. Stay focused saying, Ryan, thoughts on Schwab? Where do you see very strong support? Currently short $2 in the money. Okay, well, the first thought that I have here on Schwab, if you recall back to yesterday, we were actually trying to play this for a bounce. Somehow I managed to make 2 trades and neither of them were a loss. Now, I didn't really make any money. In fact, if I was explaining this trade to somebody else, I would say I closed them flat, because I think I was up like a total of $60 or whatever on the trades. It was really nothing to write home about. But given how this thing performed the rest of the day and then the continuation down here today, I am not sure how I managed to squeak by on that. As far as your question for some key levels here, let's actually go to a bigger chart and let's bring 13 into that as well. I'm not sure if you've already kind of covered this and got some of those levels, so I'm going to go ahead and start here while you prepare that. First of all, the big thing here from today, stay focused, and I'm sure that this actually played into your current short that you are printing on, is we are plunging away from the 200-day. So yesterday we traded down to that area. I guess technically, if I look at the pre-market here, what do we trade down a little bit in the pre-market? So we're actually beneath this 200-day. We seem to be running away. The next spot that I have here for support is going to be about $61. This actually goes back to a previous resistance level back in 2023 as well as early 2023. And you have just beneath that, you've got that round 60 number, which was a very, very big support back from 2022. So just to recap that, because I gave you a whole bunch of numbers that were really close there. Sure looks to me like the big support area here on ticker SCHW is going to be between 60 and 61 and change. Maybe let's call it 61.20. I would expect some type of bounce here. Charles Schwab shares trading lower after TD Cowen downgraded the stock from buy to hold and lowered the price target from 88 to 71. Big haircut there. That's why you're seeing some more move to the lows here. Stay focused. 13, I'd love to hear what you think about potential levels here on Schwab.
I like $60 handle and the 500 week. Those are going to be my two that I'd be looking at. Don't know if we'll actually get to the 500 week, but 60 looks like it's completely reasonable. It's been a support and resistance level in the past. I think 60 is probably your strongest bet based on previous price action going back to 2018.
Okay, yeah. To me here, stay focused. Let me know what you think about that. 60 seems to be the one that kind of jumps off the page. To your point, though, 13, there's maybe some more in here that might come into play as well.
And if that doesn't hold up, then I think the 500 week.
Boy, Schwab's having a rough look at this weekly candle here. This weekly candle here, we broke beneath the 20, 200, 150 week moving average. Just see where we close and finish this off at the end of the week.
Look at the 500 week. Look at the price action going back to well, I guess you could even go back even further than the pandemic. But the 500 week has been a frequent moving average that has provided support to the price in SCHW.
This goes all the way back. This support that you're talking about goes all the way back to 2013.
Yeah,
so we're talking 11 years on that.
Yeah, so I would say that if the only caveat here to this moving average is that if it's frequently getting pounded, like we're starting to see since last year, I'd be a little bit nervous about it failing. Now we'll have to even see if it gets down there. But once we're there, then we can start having that conversation about what's going to happen. First, we need to see if 60 is even going to hold. That's going to be the first step.
Okay, and that actually lines up pretty nicely with one of these volume shelves here as well. Stay focused saying, Ryan, I am in the same area as you. 60 sounds okay as long as the SPY keeps falling. Boom. We seem to be in the exact same position there. If we take a very quick look at the SPY here, see that the SPY is kind of up off the lows, but it is still lower from where we're at here. So real good stuff.
Paul asking about CELH swing.
Let's do it. Sure. Paul, one of our Twitter viewers here. We love viewers from all over the place. Paul, hope you're having a great morning here. Also had a really nice comment about us earlier. Thanks for the show as always. Y'all are fantastic. I like when you say y'all, especially when you say it with some soul. So we'll go ahead and check out CELH here. Swing long near 46, or maybe I'll wait and see if it touches 37. This is going to be CELH. This is Celsius Holdings. So the first thing that you need to do is figure out whether or not you actually like this theme or not. I've tried these Celsius drinks. They're good. They're better than a lot of the other energy drinks out there, but I am trying to move more away from that stuff and just stick with coffee. Looking at the weekly chart here, we are smack dab on that 100-week moving average. This also lines up with a pretty good volume shelf. We're actually at the lower end of that range there. The only bigger volume shelf that I see here on the weekly is going to be down in the 33 handle. Let's move to the daily chart here. We can instantly see that this is coming in towards that 500-day moving average. Volume shelf here a little bit more well-defined. We're clearly at that level as well. So you're saying long near 46. Let's see. Let's get that level and see where we're at here. So 46 is going to be right in here. This is actually going to go back to a support from August of 2023. This also served as a resistance that same year in May. That 46 seems reasonable. And then you're also asking about 37. Well, that 37 level that we kind of just talked about, wasn't that clearly defined on the weekly? Wasn't that one of these levels here? Let me get that volume profile here to adjust. That's going to be right in here. That's going to be just above one of these bigger volume shelves that we were taking a look at. And that's actually just above the 200-week moving average. Not sure if we get down there. 13, what say you on CELH?
Well, until I saw those moving averages, coming up to greet the price where it's at, I was thinking that this might end up rolling over. The thing that I'm looking at here is that there's it's getting into a bit of a demand zone that was put in back last year during the summer. There's some consolidation, from about May to the middle of August. That's where there could potentially be that bounce spot, and it's right in the 46 handle area where he's mentioning.
Okay.
If we go lower than that to 37, we're talking going back and testing the highs from 2021, kind of closer to 36 actually, but basically in there. If we start heading down there, there's going to be a gap that is going to likely end up filling. That was from May of 2023. That takes you about to just under 36. I think that could very well fill. So you might get 36 to the high 35s as a bottoming area if we continue to go down lower. But I think where you're talking about right now with 46, that seems like that could be a good spot to add. Now here's a couple of things that also stand out to me. RSI is low, so that means that we could see a turnaround at some point. At the same time, we also have the 50-day SMA bearing down towards the 200-day SMA, and that's going to result in a death cross. So you might get a short-term move up, but if that death cross happens, that would indicate to me that eventually we will be going lower. I don't know what your time horizon is with CELH, but those are the things I'm seeing with this one. We may get some up and down movement quite a bit going into next year based on those levels. That's just what I would be looking at. First step, see if the 500-day SMA provides support.
Real good stuff there on that breakdown, 13. Appreciate it, Paul. Let me know if that helps you there or if that was good. Real quick here, Jay saying DJIA, notice the relative strength. They sell the overcrowded within Amazon, Microsoft, and Apple, and bid the laggards like UNH, J&J, IBM, also GS and JPM still solid here. Jay, this is a really good observation by you here. Dow, really the index of all the ones that I'm looking at that's really kind of holding up. Here's the diamonds chart, ticker DIA. This is your tradable Dow Jones Industrial ETF. This here pounding the highs. As you can see, that move is clear as day. Really good stuff. Really good stuff here. This is another good day in a row. I'll tell you what, I can get used to this. I can get used to having a good day every single day. That's what we're going to try and spin forward here.
And all it took was the Mag 7 to start selling off.
And you know what's funny about that, 13, is that our group, Happy Hour, Live Trading, and everyone in between have been waiting for that. So clearly we've been waiting for the right thing here.
Consumer staples doing well today. Consumers eating more at home. This is also from the Happy Hour chat. Consumer staples doing well, such as GIS, CAG, CBP, TSM. All those are looking good. Pepsi. Signs of a recession around the corner and consumers eating more at home? Question mark? Perhaps. I would think so. Who wants to go out and eat? We've been looking at the CPI report for the past couple of months. We can clearly see that eating at home is so much cheaper than eating out by a difference of 3%. Look at the CPI reports. You can see this.
So much better for you too. That's the thing that doesn't get discussed. So here is Tyson. By the way, this is actually a good time for us to talk about Tyson. Remember the last time that we talked about Tyson, we talked about, I think it was the CFO had some type of drunk driving, blah, blah, blah. And the stock moved down on that. be honest with you, that was a buying opportunity, right?
Yeah.
We moved down to this 200-day. We bounced off this clean. That was 53 bucks. We're up 7 points. Not quite 7 points. It was 52.75 here. So almost 7 full points off that bounce from the 200-day. I tell you what, that was a buying opportunity. I asked my buddy there, kind of said, yeah, it sucks, but it's not really that bad for the company. He actually even said that it might be better in the long run. So we'll see if that ends up playing out here on Tyson.
Okay. Yeah, we've had some really influential people over the years that were drunks. So anyway, I don't think that's a really good point to bring up. But as far as Intel
Did you
goes,
see the home run derby by chance? Okay, sorry, that was it was topical. I had to throw that in there. Obviously, yes. we wish she gets the help that she needs.
As far as INTC goes, it looks like what happened today is that there was a bit of a gap fill. We can see that from April 12th, April 11th to April 12th. There was a bit of a gap that was created. We filled that, and then we turned around. I don't know that we're necessarily reversing here. This is a bit of an undecided candle that it currently has at the moment. We'll have to wait and see what happens when we close. But I think for now, it's just if you're feeling a little less bullish, do what you're going to do with your position. For me, I'm in Intel for the long term, so I'm just going to wait and see what happens here. It had a really nice move off the 500-day SMA. That could now be potentially support, since it was previously resistance. Let's see what happens with that first. I still like Intel for the long run. This looks like it's kind of like a bit of an undecided neutral candle that could indicate a reversal. I'm just going to wait and see what happens.
I know he asked you, and that was a really great response, but I'm going to go ahead and directly answer his question in a TLDR fashion. Does it look like Intel is struggling to stay above the VWAP? Yeah, it does. In fact, it's clearly using this as resistance here. I'm also seeing the volume kind of dry up. Remember, this move here on Intel is based on the Trump comments that Taiwan should really kind of foot its own defense bill, at least some of it. And that would be a positive for Intel, negative for TSM. We're seeing that here in the stock. The big thing for where we're at this level, to me, it seems like if we're really going to try to make an up move, we would need some type of catalyst here. We just moved. I don't really think we have anything new here. To me, regression back to the mean seems more likely. And this using the VWAP as resistance is just kind of confirming that for me.
Okay, so stay focused. Here's what I'm looking at here with this one. Now that I, actually read your question, it does look like it's trying to having a hard time getting above VWAP. More pressing for me would be whether or not it can actually hold above 35.70. You draw a line there. It looks like that's been the level this morning since pre-market. It got above that level, and it was relying on that for support. Now, even since we've opened, it traded slightly beneath that and recaptured it quick. So I think that's the level that we're going to need to watch for if we're going to start to break down or not. We start losing 35.70. I think we may end up going lower. How much lower? Don't know.
Okay. And since we've discussed Benzinga Pro happy hour and a lot of that stuff, I got a present for you here. BZ Pro link with sale. Go ahead and I'll give you a link here that's got a sale on the annual subscription. If you want to go ahead and just take that dive in. If you need to talk to somebody first, James from our team here uses Pro himself, been doing this for a while. I'm sure he'd be happy to talk to you. Let me go ahead and give you James's contact information. Sometimes he actually joins us here in the chat. So if that happens, we might be able to get that. But let me go ahead and give you James's direct email and phone number in case you want to talk to somebody. Otherwise, if you just want to dive right in, I went ahead and threw a link there with a sale for Benzinga Pro. There's James's contact information in the chat. Giddy up, folks.
And I would like to add that when it comes to happy hour, you're not going to, get all of life's mysteries solved in one session. It's going to be something that is ongoing. I'm there every day, so I'm getting all this information over time, and it's really helped me out. I would encourage you, if you are interested in joining happy hour, that you try to make as many sessions as you can, because you will get more and more information that'll help you understand the bigger picture over time. So that's what my
Yeah,
recommendation would be.
really well said. Really well said. You know, I think the thing that speaks the highest for that is that we have a call that is completely voluntary. There's and it's after the market, so it's not as I mean, we do talk about stocks that are moving like on earnings after the market, so maybe there could be like a live trading aspect information in there, but for the most part, this is education, knowledge building, and idea sharing to be used in the future. We have people like yourself who have been coming back literally every day for years, and again, this is voluntary. You have no obligation at all. And I'm personally proud because this call has really kind of grown into its own thing where members from the call take it upon themselves to come up with good thesis idea and then share that with the group, as well as respectfully kind of challenging other thesis, which makes the overall thesis stronger. So 13, your advice on coming back here, really awesome. And folks, if you can't make it every day, it's my time to shout 13 now. If you can't make it every day, one of the things that you can expect when the chat, when I'm not getting new messages here, one of the things that you can expect here is going to be a recap. 13 doesn't need to do this, but takes the time to recap with notes all of the stocks that we had discussed on a daily basis. So even if you miss one, do not despair. You're likely going to be able to get that information, and the chat room's open 24/7.
So I've been patiently waiting because I wanted to shout out to Tom Herbert, who mentioned this earlier this morning. We traded this one before. MyWoo Technology. It's ticker WN as in Nancy W. This thing is popping right now, and it has had some good moves this morning. Shout out to him. I don't think he's around. He had to go to a meeting, but he did mention this before all these moves were happening. Shout out to him. Hope somebody paid attention to that when he was saying it and got on this train.
Born, you're not bad at anything, dude. You're not bad at anything. You're a stand-up guy. And don't worry about that. Don't worry about not. Again, I know everyone's got a different schedule and different obligations, so that's why everything like that is completely optional. WNW here. This looks pretty good here. This is a really nice trade on that break above the first intraday high there. Had that at 108. Having another really good day here, and I've made 0 day trades here today. 0, literally 0, and I'm still printing. Let's go. This is exactly the type of environment that I wanted back. Let's go. I hope this never goes away, folks. I mean, it will, but I'm just going to hope that it doesn't.
Yeah, something about celebrating good times. AMIX, that one's starting to leak now beneath VWAP.
Okay. Okay, let's go back to trade the pool here and see if we can get one.
Get those gains, stay focused, whether they be from the market or the gym. You get them.
Yeah, Jay, come on. We don't need that. We don't need that type of stuff. You're better than that. We'll be listening on the treadmill. Happy trading. All right. Hey, I'm trying to get out there too. I'm trying to get out there and get some exercise. It makes me feel so great. It makes me feel so great every day.
Remember
what else we got?
I remember people talking about MLGO this morning. This one just knifed.
Which one? MLGO knifing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, micro-algo.
Around here, let's see. How's Tesla doing? I know Lynn and Randy they had an obligation here this morning, so we didn't get a lot of the Tesla reports here. This though, 251.
All Mag 7's down.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Apple too.
Especially Nvidia, just absolutely getting hammered.
Let me bring up Nvidia.
Is this the lowest it's been since the split? I believe it is.
I'm going to need a little bit bigger of a chart to figure that out, but you might be right on that 13. It's not.
No. It went slightly lower back in June. But we're almost there.
Oh no, you're right.
We're almost there. We're pretty close. So
I've got that at I've got that value at 118.04 as that actual dead low.
Yeah. So next step for Nvidia is to see if the 50-day SMA is going to give it support like it has faithfully done in the past. I'm a little more skeptical this time. We'll see. 515. I believe that's. I mean, you can even draw a line at 115 and see that that's been a breakout level. That was a breakout level back in May. Transitioning into June actually, but that's going to be the level I think that we're going to need to hold is 115 from the way it looks right now.
Check in on some of the movers here real quick. You penny players, APVO really kind of flagging here, 57 cents ish. Shim, the water play that we discussed earlier, really hasn't. It's moved up off the 280 low that we had from the open, but really hasn't given a great trade setup. Outside of that, TKNO, what is this one? Alpha Technova. That sounds like an EDM DJ. I'm not even
you mean an EDC DJ?
Yeah.
Electric Daisy Carnival? Oh yeah, that's exactly what that sounds like. Now,
when you say EDC, I think of something else. But point made there. So, all right, Google on the low of the day. Yeah, it's all those Mag 7s that you were talking about earlier. UNH, United Healthcare, on the relative volume scan. I rarely see that stock on there. Not moving higher here. This, by the way, discovered yesterday when I was kind of doing some poking around. This stock on a per share basis, so more government people own this stock than any other stock. This is the most. Let me just check my scanner here real quick one more time. Oh, you know what? I've got to save this other brilliant scan that I came up with here.
I had this one a long time ago, and I sold it, and I haven't gotten back into it, and that is making new all-time highs. But when I sold it, this was back in like 22. I haven't had it since.
Beaten down high short. Okay, so let's go ahead and then let's see. Large government buys. Boom, boom, boom. UNH. Okay, so if I sort this based on U.S. Congress totals, nope, never mind. I must have had a different filter on yesterday. NVIDIA and Microsoft, and Apple owned more than this. UNH a little bit more down the list there. Sorry about that. I must have had a different filter on. Must have had a sector filter on. Anyway,
All right.
Anyway, it is still highly owned by people in the government that don't really seem to lose. Take care of yourself, Jay. Thanks. Thanks for your support here today. Mentioning Silo, this was one yesterday. Actually, really good mention here on the way out, Jay. Way to ring the bell on the way out. That's always cool. Silo here, seeing a little bit of continuation. When we look at the hourly chart here, this really did kind of hold the bottom end of yesterday's range. Now it seems to be curling up. It'll be very interesting to see if it can take out this 250 area. We are almost there. Something to watch here on Silo. 20-year return on UNH is fantastic. Those are the types of stocks that I want to own for a long time, dude.
Looking backwards, yesterday when we were trading Silo, yesterday when we were trading Silo, it seems like 260 was the big level it could not continuously stay over. Got a pop in the morning that was rejected around there. And then later on in the afternoon, we got a little bit more encouraging movement up and over it, including one 5-minute candle closing it, but the very next 5-minute candle went right back down and started a sell-off that took it down to 225. So 260 for me is going to be the big breakout level if we get the volume.
Those are two levels to watch there on Silo. And it's curling up towards those levels. I think those might get hit here today. ASST, this is another one that we talked about earlier here today. Looks like that's trying to curl back towards the VWAP. First time it tried to go through the VWAP, it did not have the strength to do that. We'll see if it does on the second go around here. ASST. AMIX, this was another one on the list here. We actually knifed beneath the VWAP. We'll see if we can get a reclaim there. This, to me, no touch unless that can happen. Intel still below that VWAP. Clearly, it's using that as a resistance area. I'm seeing SMCI calls come across here. So interesting. We noted the tech dip. Lion Atlas mentioning how the AMD sell-off here is absolutely insane. It does look It does look like traders are buying calls into the move down, and it's not specific to any name. Netflix, Apple, SMCI, NVIDIA, seeing call buying in all of those names. Even CRM. What's CRM doing here today? That's down, but barely. Even that's getting bought up here. Or I'm seeing call buys, I should say. I'm seeing call buys. Meta would be another one. Wiss, what's up with HNST today? Honest Company. It's up. Oh, you know what? Let me check and see if there was news there. Wiss, give me one sec. HNST.
It's been moving up quite a bit lately.
Yeah, I don't have anything here on this one. It's in one of those general posts here. No, it's just saying that the shares rose here. Wiss, I don't see it. I don't see what the news is here. We'll probably have to find that one. We'll probably have to find that out.
What's
Looks
up?
like
Good morning.
Good morning, haircut. How you doing today?
Good, good. I am going to stay quiet just so I can see how I can fix this little Benzinga banner thing. So don't mind me while I move around in the background.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I've got one of those too, Zunaid. I'll be honest. I stopped taking it out because it was just more of a hassle.
Back and forth.
More of a hassle there. But good luck with that.
Will do. BRB.
Okay, cool. Dustin asking, anyone playing QS still? Let's take a look at that. That's QuantumScape. That's that battery play we talked about yesterday here. My God, Zunaid has a drum machine. I didn't even realize that, bro. I want to hear Zunaid just absolutely rock out on the drum machine. That would be sick.
Oh yeah, pounding the lows. The Honest Company, real quick. That's a personal product company. I think this may be a consumer discretionary reaction. That's one of the sectors that could end up doing really well as we head into a recession. So. I agree. I don't see any news that's really causing such a movement to happen, but it's, it could be just sector strength. It could just be that. I really don't know why this is exactly moving up, but
I think what we're discovering here, I don't think there is like a single piece of news that's actually driving this.
So, with QuantumScape, this is a solid state battery play. We actually already have solid state batteries. They're already being sold on Amazon. They're already helping power campsites, using for backups for homes. So solid state batteries are already here, and I think they're supposed to be better, or their life cycles are better.
Let me ask you a question here, and I'm being reminded of this, and I'm just asking it spontaneously. I've recently been seeing advertisements for what I think they're called like Patriot generators, and they're basically battery-based solar generators that you can use on camping trips. They're expandable, so if you need more power, now they're not necessarily going to power your whole house like a Generac would, but you can absolutely keep a fridge going through a power outage, or maybe some other things by doing that. I wonder if that uses that same battery technology. Maybe I'm completely off here. I'm just trying to think. When I saw that advertisement for that, I was like, man, if I camped often, I would for sure have one of these. Like, I'm going to be able to get the internets out in the middle of the camp zone. Like, let's go, dude. That's exactly what I want.
So there are a number of, and you can go on Amazon and look. I think they even have some Prime Day deals. But companies like Yoshino and Anker.
Anker makes great battery products, by the way.
Yeah. Now I don't know that Anker is a solid state, but these actually do have solar panels that you can use to charge into these, and you can actually with the Yoshino ones, you can charge multiple. You can charge this solid state battery with multiple ways. You can plug in a USB to charge it that way, and also charge it through the DC as well. So Yoshino, very very interesting. Solid state power stations. I'd look into those especially if you're going to go camping. They also have larger ones for whole home use as well, like 4,000 watt ones. So we do have solid state batteries. They are being sold right now, and this is just their first generation. So as they start coming out with more, they're going to only improve.
Zunaid, real quick here. I know we're going to be turning this over to you for Futures Fever. We're going to do that right now, actually. But before we do that, I got to ask you, I saw the drum machine behind you, and that is absolutely amazing. Can you at some point give me your best Neil Peart or Danny Carey impression? That would really be great. I had no idea you were a drummer. I want to see that at some point.
See, that's the thing. Perception is reality. I've got the electric drum kit, but I am, I was a better drummer with my pen when I was back in college and the tables and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So basically what you're saying is you're gonna create our new intro for live trading.
That would be something. Yeah.
Wouldn't it?
I think people would rather have ads than my intro be from me playing. Put it that way.
You know what? I'm out of here then. I can't even believe you just said people would rather have ads. I'm going to leave before they flame us. 13, I'm going to protect us. Get your fire suit on. Right. Good luck on Futures
Take care.
Fever.
Appreciate it. All right. See you guys later. And it's time for a little bit of Futures Fever. And if you're new to the show, if you're new to the channel, let me go ahead and kind of just tell you exactly what it is. Futures Fever. This is pretty much where we go ahead and trade Apex funded accounts. What is Apex? Well, it's a eval company where you can go ahead. I'm gonna quickly kind of brief over it and then we can get on with the trading action. But Apex, you can go to Apex Trader Funding. It's an eval company where you can go ahead and, sign up for like say a $50,000 account, which is about with the sale of 80% off. It's approximately like $40 or so. Then you have to meet the profit target of $3,000 with a drawdown of $2,500. Once you meet that, you can pay about $105 a month or $165 a lifetime, and you can get access to trade with a funded account. Now, real quick, it's a $50,000 account, but the way that I like to look at it is you have a drawdown of $2,500 by paying approximately $200, which is the eval fee, which is also the lifetime funding fee as well. And that's kind of what I've done. So anything that you see here on this screen, it hasn't been given to me. It has been done with my own hard-earned money. So anything that you see as a PA is a funded account that I have paid for $200 every single time. All right, let's get to the trading action. I was looking at Amazon. It cracked. It never retested the 192. But here on the show, we obviously go ahead and talk about, let me go and put this puppy up. You can obviously use the link in the chat. You can use the promo code Fever too if you want to go ahead and get your eval account. Matter of fact, we might be setting up for a trade. Okay. Huh. Let me see here. Hello. Now I will say this: the last time I came on here, I took 2 trades last week on Wednesday. I lost money on both of them. So am I a little bit gun shy? Yes, but that's all right. Let me go ahead and get a trade in for us. We'll take one contract. We'll want to make about maybe about 750, risk about 750. Nope. And I see this is what happens. Sometimes you mean to buy and you sell. Come on. And I do it live on air so everyone can make fun of me. Okay, so we're in the contracts. Now let me kind of go through the charts here real quick. And by the way, this is I don't know if real money is a proper word, but it's obviously not fake money as well. It's kind of right in the middle. But let me tell you why I took this trade. But before that, let me tell you what trade I had taken earlier, not today, but was scoping out yesterday. You can see me kind of having my little margins and my little drawings and my colors there. You had a little trend line there. We broke it. We came back to test it twice, rejected it, and then we just continued to the downside there. So that was a beautiful play that I got a chance to take care of. Thankfully, did not get stopped out. Almost would have, but we got some money out of it. And now we're looking to get some gains here. Again, could easily get stopped out if it does go ahead and break below there. If you go ahead and come back, let me go ahead and see. So I need to start marking if something is like the 4-hour chart, 3-hour chart, 1-hour chart, 1-minute chart. What is it? Why am I taking this trade? We'll see. Yeah, let's talk about Hood real quick because we got a trade on Hood. Hello, baby. How are you? Let me actually... Let me log in so I can brag a little bit about my trade. I don't know where the accent came from. By the way, I now have Invisalign that was installed. And whenever I do interviews, whenever I do shows, I have to take them out. But I can't always do that. So if you see me with the lisp, mind your business. Okay. All right. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here for a second so that I can share this screen here. Go to the window. Go there. Skibbity pop pop. There you go. All right, so this is my Hood trade. And again, always going to be transparent with y'all. 3 contracts is what I purchased. I haven't sold a single one. We purchased them at $4.95. Now they're trading for $7.15, which means we're up approximately 45%. I want that number to change. But yeah, that's how much we're up on this position on Hood. And you can see I've got so much time. I mean, this thing doesn't expire till what is that, January 20th. And, you know, you've got earnings coming up here in August, and I get to capture another earnings as well later on in Q4 to see the results of Q3. So exciting stuff for Hood. I said I was going to sell one contract when we got to for $25, which were approximately 35 cents away. I said I'm going to sell another one after they report Q3 earnings. And then I said I would sell the last one after the results that we hear in the end of the year. We'll see if I get greedy and if I actually do go ahead and sell one or not, or if I just say, you know what, we're going to keep rocking and rolling, and that's going to be it. But we'll see. Anyway, getting back to this. All right, so there's Hood, and you can see my target 25-ish. We're kind of marching up. And look, here's the beautiful thing about Hood, and I want you to take this and apply it to anything else, such as futures, which is what I do when it comes to trading as well. You've got this consolidation that was happening with Hood, right? Kind of just bouncing back and forth for like, how long is this? Is this thing going to tell me how long this was for? What is that? For about 20 days, it seems. We were just kind of consolidating between $22, 23, 22, whatever the case may be. Then when we finally broke out just a couple of days ago, look at how the previous resistance, comes back and then is tested for support, and it holds. It holds that support level, and then we continue marching our way. It hits my resistance level of 24.24. And again, these aren't drawings that I made after the fact. And it comes back up. And once again, look, resistance. And then what happens? It comes back, tests for support, and it holds, and you can go ahead and get that trade. So now this isn't hindsight. These are things that we have continuously done on this show, on live trading. We talk about it on pre-market prep and everything else as well. And when we have my new show launching here, hopefully in a week, the lawyers, they're continuing to do their thing, but we've uploaded the intro video for the new show, by the way. It is unlisted right now. Legal team is just taking a look at the description, waiting to give me the green light. And I'm really, really, really hoping to join more trades with y'all. We'll trade stocks and options. It'll be fun. It'll be a great time. But these are the type of lessons, and these are the type of trading strategies that we'll do together. See, I still have a hard time talking. But anyway, hopefully that makes sense for y'all out there. Would I grab Tesla puts? Let me quickly look at Tesla, and then I can get back. I wouldn't grab Tesla puts because this area right here is holding a support, right? So look at how long it held support here yesterday. Support. So you kind of want this 50 to crack, retest, maybe risk $2, and then your first target would be around 248 or so, and then you can go ahead and maybe make some money that way. Okay. Let me get back to this area here. Currently still negative on the trade. We're risking about $750. We'll see if it goes. And, you know, I haven't gotten a haircut yet. I actually need to. I need to get I think I'm going to get a haircut. Let's see. If I've got date night on Saturday, we're going to get it on Saturday. You know, we got to look fresh for that. All right, taking a look at the ES. Delete this because that's been kind of invalidated. See, we're kind of hanging out here. I'm not gonna lie. A part of me wants to take this trade too. All right, come on, y'all. Don't make me look bad, chat or markets, I guess. Especially if this candle closes above, I would like that very, very much, but we'll see what happens. SPY looking suspect. So when you say SPY looks suspect, obviously I'm looking at the ES. I can take a look at the SPY here as well. Boy, I can just feel me having a tough time talking. Oh my God. I can't believe I have to wear in. By the way, if any of y'all, I don't know if kids watch this show in terms of like 14, 15-year-olds, but like, take care of your teeth. Take care of your teeth, people. Okay. Oh, hello. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Come on, baby. Let's see where VWAP is. Ooh. See, here's the thing. I'm a human being. I'm greedy. So a part of me kind of wants it to be here, near VWAP. You know? Sorry, I just got a Slack. All right. Let's see. What do y'all think? Should I move my profit target a little bit higher, or should I just stop being greedy? See, I was up $200. Now I'm up $50. This is what happens with greed. We're just going to leave it. We're just going to leave it. And now when I'm in the red. Did I just get... That was interesting. I'll have to see what happened there. Let's go to the NQ. Let me actually... Let me go back here. Okay. While we're in this trade, let me go ahead and take a look at a couple of... Here, Tesla we're talking about again. Let's see if we actually got that bounce. Yeah, it's still kind of hanging out. Yep, see how it's holding on to support at the moment. We'll see if it cracks. See, for me, this is such a long 15-minute candle that even if it closes below, I would prefer like a little bit of basing here. And then I can maybe go short and kind of have an idea where my stop loss would be. But like if this closes here, I would want it to kind of base, try to get up, have some struggle, and then I can go short. Oh, yeah, it's coming down now. Let me go ahead and put some... By the way, after Futures Fever, we have a couple of interviews coming up. One of them is going to be with Brand Engagement, Paul Chang. He was, named co-CEO just about a month or so ago, and they've got some exciting things to talk about. They've got their earnings coming up, so we'll see what's happening within the company there since he's taken over or since he's been named co-CEO. And then we've got Mango RX that we're going to have a conversation with as well. Interesting company. It's a conversation that typically some would say is taboo, but it is a part of daily life. It is a part of what men struggle with sometimes, and it's perfectly okay to talk about, in my opinion. So that's the conversation that we will have with Jacob Cohen, who is the CEO of Mango RX. Coming up, those conversations will start at 11:30, so in about 17 minutes or so. I've always talked to Paul, always had a great time. Jacob will be my first time interviewing him, so I'm excited to see what the conversation is around men's health, especially because your boy deals with a little bit of hair loss sometimes. Look at that, it's recovering. Where are we gonna close? All right, this music is not the one for me. Hold on a second. What is feeding the ducks? I'm just gonna keep it lo-fi. Oh, look at that. In pre-market, Hood did reach my $25 target, but obviously I can't sell my options when it's pre-market, but it did get there. Floss daily. It's very important to do so, but let's be honest. How many of us actually do? there's a Reddit or there's a subreddit on Reddit called Hygiene, and it randomly popped up on my feed maybe a couple of weeks ago, and they got some horrific stories there about people's partners not having the best hygiene. It's scary out there, man. Thankfully, I've never encountered anything like that, but still taking a look at Tesla. Still got our trade on as well. Fairchild, have you done this before? Have you dropped a hammer? Come on. You could be honest here. I've dropped a phone on my face before. I feel like we all have. Luke, you're going with 220 puts? I mean, yeah, but like, where would you... I don't know. Like, what expiration, though? Because 220 puts, that's $30 below. Come on, just come on back up. You know? MSTR while we're in this trade. MSTR. Let's take a look at MSTR. By the way, I've gotten into crypto trading lately, and I'll take a look at a chart here on Sol that has been beautiful to work out. When is their split? Or did they announce a split, or are you speculating? But either way, I think you have clear resistance right there at the 1743. Pops above, you might get a chance. Yeah, I know. I'm actually, you know what I need to do? I've been so busy. I get terrible with this. I need to just schedule guests on a consistent basis, even if it's like 2-3 weeks out. Because I'm always like, oh yeah, I need a guest for tomorrow. And then I just, you know, I've got too much going on. But you're right. I need to get on my guest game. All right. Come on now. Keep on marching up. My producer who's watching in the background says I need more energy. Woman, it is 11:18 in the morning. And now that I called her out, she tells me she's kidding. You're lucky I didn't just blast your whole name. I should stop bullying her, or else she'll mute me during my interviews. All right, come on. There we go. I need like what? Two more points. Let me get 2 more points so I can make $500 and not look like a total loser on stream. Come on. I literally need less than a point. Need half a point. This is the nerve-wracking part of trading, when you're so close yet so far from getting filled on your profit target. Should I just take it? Should I just take these gains? No, don't do that. All right, whatever, I'm out. Cool, $400, just secured that. We are good to go. But don't forget, we've got another trade on another account. Where is that one? Here. That is live. So we made about $400 on one trade. Now we're looking to make about $750 on this one. Now, obviously, here in about 11 minutes, I do have an interview with Paul Chang, co-CEO of Brand Engagement Network. Then after that, we'll have Jacob Cohen, who is a CEO of Mango RX. So if this trade doesn't close while I'm having the interview, obviously I'm locked in and focused on the interview. I'm not going to pay attention to the trade. We'll see what happens. Luke, I feel that way all the time whenever I have a winning trade. I'm like, man, I should have bet grandma's money and my whole house on it. But, obviously not the case here. Let me actually take a look at something here. We've got that. And let me also take a look at something else here. Oh, then Malia, I know you have the slide that we talked about for one of the interviews. It was flipped, so I just want to make sure it's flipped properly for the interview itself. All right, look, here we go again. Once again in the money. There we go. Come on, let's keep marching up. Yeah, I'm multitasking. Yeah, so we all multitask here at Benzinga. I'm obviously trading. I'm getting ready for the interview we're going to have here with Paul Chang in about 8 minutes. And then let's see. Making sure our research and everything is good to go, Oh, yeah, that's what I was going to talk about. So let me take a look at SOL for y'all, because I've got a good amount of SOL, not just, in life terms, but in also, I guess, wallet terms. But this was a trend line that I had drawn and I'm trading off of. Right? So this is a support level of like this 118, 120 areas where I continuously end up buying. I think it's like more like around here is where I get in. And this trend line so far continues to be resistant. So I need this pop, baby. I need this march towards 200 so I can retire. Just kidding. I can't retire with the amount of SOL that I have, but I think I have, let me see how many. I think I have about 50 coins of SOL, which is like 7,500 or something like that. Oh, yes. Here we go. Oops. Come on. Here, just for a little bit more anxiety. But here's what I am going to do. I am not going to be reckless. I am going to set my stop loss right underneath this candle so that no matter what happens, I will get profits. Did it reject at the 50? Rejected at the 51. Should I just close this trade too? Now let's see what happens. No! Come on, just go up. I will be right back. All right, well, This is why sometimes you should just take your gains, because what would have been a $500 win ended up being a $78 win. That is life. But that's okay, because we took another trade here and we made $400. So on this stream, we made about $500. I cannot complain. And we'll see if we can get another setup here in the last 5 minutes that we have before we talk to Paul Chang and also Jacob Cohen. And it is cool to kind of see the market's down about 1.5% in terms of the SPY. Qs are down about 2.5%, but Hood is only down less than 0.5%, right? So we just went red on Hood, but some good signs for Hood. Because that tells me if the market was higher, Hood would probably be about 25 plus, in my opinion. And look at that. We're right back down to where we took the trade. At least we locked in gains. At least we managed the trade profitably and in a good fashion. Let me actually... What do I think of Baidu? Let's check it out. Baidu. This would be a no trade for me until we get above 95 and hold. And then I would want it to get the fill all the way down to 99s or so. Qs low a day. Downside on the Qs. Oh, gotta fix my hair a little bit. Let me fix something for me here. Yeah, but Luke, when are you expecting that to happen though? Like, what's your, like, are you playing? Like, I obviously, you know, I know how options work, and you don't need to get all the way down to 220. You just need a movement, even if you get to say 242 by the end of tomorrow, whatever. Like, great, I understand what you're saying, but that is still like, when do your contract expire? I guess is my question, because you're looking at about a 12% downside, which is not doable, right? It's nothing crazy for Tesla. However, if you're looking for that to happen in the next 2 days, I don't know. I don't see that happening. You know? I'm going to check my email to see if I got the green light on our show yet. It's like every morning I wake up and I like to just see. Okay. All right. Malia, if you could communicate in the... Thank you. I see you're already on it. Uh-oh. All right, let's see. Oh, next 3 weeks. Oh, well, then that's different. Yeah. If it's the next 3 weeks, then like, yeah, I think that's a solid trade. But then my question would then be, where's your stop loss? Man, a part of me wants to go long again. I won't do it though. Yeah, I'm not going to do it. 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 All right, cool. Awesome. Paul, give me a thumbs up when you're ready. Awesome. Malia, you can go ahead and change the background so that I know you are ready. All right, perfect. Let's go ahead, do some of this. All right, well, hopefully you guys enjoyed the show in terms of Futures Fever. We took a couple of trades. We made money on both of them. On this trade on the ES, we made about $400. And then, of course, we took this trade. We were up about $500 on this one, but we made sure to trail our stop losses, and therefore we closed out at $80. So overall, looking at approximately $500 made on the stream. Hope you guys, more importantly, outside of just the money, kind of learned why we took the trades, learn about support and resistance and how we utilize that in trading just about every single day. And of course, you know, on this show, we don't just like to talk about trades in terms of short term and what you can do in the swing trading aspect, but we also want to go ahead and find out how we can make you money in the long term as well. And one of the ways that we can do that is by having conversations with publicly traded executives, right? So we've got great conversations that I told you about lined up here for us today. I've had many good conversations with Paul Chang, who is now the co-CEO of Brand Engagement Network. Ticker on the NASDAQ is BNAI. All Access starts right now. Paul, welcome to the show, man. How's it going?
Hey, Sinead. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me again.
It's been like a month or so since you were named co-CEO. How's that going for you?
Yeah, it's been good. I would say, you know, we've made some significant progress with market validation, and I think that was one of the key focuses of you know, where we needed to, you know, drive understanding of our technology and get our customers to sign up.
All right. Well, for the folks at home that might not be familiar, give us a quick, brief overview of what is it that your company does?
Well, Ben AI is a full stack, pure play generative AI company. So the company and the technology has been around for 5 years. And we develop our front end, middleware, and back end, which includes our language model. And that allows us to optimize the experience for the users. And I think we will be talking about, you know, one of those cool technologies that we've been working on that's going to make our customers utilize the technology, Gen AI, for their benefit and their customers' benefit.
Now, is that something that, is already kind of public knowledge, or are you going to release that later on, or where are we in the process of letting the users know what it is exactly that you've been kind of working on?
Yeah, so let's say we're still at early stages, but we have some, beta customers that are testing the technology with us,
Yeah.
and so we feel confident that it can be deployed to scale very quickly in the near future here.
There's so many companies now that kind of have the buzzword AI. Obviously, for y'all, it's not a buzzword. It is truly something that you are working on every single day. It is a core part of what you're doing as well. What do you think kind of separates you from your competitors that are kind of in this space as well to help companies with AI, whether it's to filter data, whether it's to communicate with consumers and bring down costs? So many different ways to use AI here.
Right, and I think for most companies, they're traditional, say, machine learning AI companies.
Yeah.
They've been doing the work on the data and doing analytics and such, which obviously we still need, right? It's very important. Then there are sort of the new entrants who call themselves Gen AI companies, but they're just a thin veneer on top of, let's say, ChatGPT. And so they're very limited in what they can do, what they can control. And therein lies the challenges of protecting the data, the privacy aspect, and then of course perhaps utilizing more processing power and energy than necessary.
Now, you have so much power that you just mentioned about. Are you concerned that the AI models are so power hungry that we might have an issue in moving forward with this? Kind of like how Bitcoin, right? And the machines there for the mining, that we saw such a huge surge in power and expenses there. Are you expecting something similar when it comes to the AI models?
Yeah, I mean, it seems that way, and there's a fair amount of concern in the industry, right? I sat in a dinner event where everyone was talking about, wow, we need these, GPUs to power our large language models, and to, power the GPUs or house the GPUs, we need to build more data centers. And if we have more data centers, well, it needs electricity. So then, we need to build more power plants to feed the data center. So I just thought that whole thought was like going out of control. Where we've differentiated ourselves is our ability to build specific AI solutions to solve specific problems. And in that scenario, you don't need such large language model, right? And I was just kind of thinking about, what analogy can I use to help, everyday people understand. So we're not asking our AI to go read all the books in the Library of Congress. We are asking it to read one book that has the answer and provide a response from that one book. So in order to do that, well, you can use the already existing processing power, CPUs, versus needing to have GPUs so that you do parallel processing.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying GPUs are bad. I mean, we certainly still use them, especially in training. But to deploy a solution, especially a lightweight solution that perhaps works on your phone, then we think a GPU-based processing solution makes more sense.
So it seems like it's a bit more targeted. Instead of just casting the net wide and saying, hey, go grab everything. It's like, hey, this is the one book that we're focused on. Let's get as much information from that one thing and be experts at it than we possibly can be. Technology is always changing. We've always heard that term, but I feel like AI now every single day is changing as well. How is your team kind of keeping up with the vast technology changes that are happening in the AI space to make sure that you always have the competitive edge that you're hoping to keep?
Yes, absolutely. And it is changing on a daily basis almost, right? So not only do we have a team of developers that are constantly looking for clever ways to, not just develop, but also deploy AI technology. We have relationships with universities where we have access to PhD students who are looking at sort of the next generation of AI technology, whether that's computer vision or voice synthesis or other technology that is going to help drive efficiency, as well as making it more engaging for the consumers to use the technology.
Paul, before I let you go, anything else that you wanted to kind of talk about? I know you'll have earnings coming up here in a month or so. So there's certain things I can't ask because you'll report on it. But any other topics or conversations you were hoping to have today that I didn't get a chance to bring up?
Yeah, I just want to sort of highlight that there are actually many different ways to solve a problem. It doesn't have to be just one way. Obviously, ChatGPT did everyone a huge favor by becoming, a very popular topic that everyone knows and everyone talks about. But there are perhaps a better, more targeted way to deploy AI technology, especially for businesses, right? Most businesses, either you're in the healthcare space or you sell insurance or cars, you're very narrowly focused, but you need depth of knowledge. And that's where AI technology that we are working on enables that type of knowledge and expertise to be brought on to engage their customers.
All right, Paul. Well, hey, I look forward to kind of reading the transcript of your earnings and hearing the conversations. And hopefully you and I can have another one to digest everything that your company's been doing so far.
Yep. Look forward to it, Nate.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. That is Paul Chang, who is the co-CEO of Brand Engagement Network. Ticker on the NASDAQ is BNAI. Paul, thanks again.
Yep. Thanks very much.
Take care. All right, we're going to continue the conversation. We told you we love to talk to executives from publicly traded companies, and we've got another great one lined up for you here as well. This one is going to be with Mango RX. Ticker on the NASDAQ is MGRX. The conversation is with the CEO, Jacob Cohen. All Access starts again. Jacob, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning to you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I was just telling the chat, you and I haven't had a chance to have a conversation in the past. So I'm excited for this one. And, I'd love to talk about what your company does. And I kind of mentioned to the chat that the conversation can be a bit taboo, but it's so important to talk about because many, many Americans, many humans around the world, forget just Americans, deal with this. So enough teasing. Let's get kind of right down to it. But before we do, give the folks at home a brief overview of what is it that your company does.
That's okay. We like teasing. It's okay.
We can't get canceled though, Jacob. We can't get canceled.
I appreciate that. So Mangoceuticals is a men's health and wellness company, and we've really set ourselves to be different as a telemedicine company by providing really unique formulas and really unique products that are geared for men. Thus the name Mangoceuticals or Mango RX. And mango is a play on words for man go. So outside of being a really tasty fruit, we want men to go hard in all aspects of life. Therefore, we want to create products that, that emphasize that, right? So whether it's in the bedroom, whether it's in the boardroom, whether it's at the gym, or just in all aspects of life, want people to feel good, men to feel good, and be at their peak performance at all times. So again, standing by that mantra, we've created products in those specific categories that we know are issues for men on a daily basis, or could be, right?
Right.
And also in terms of taboo, we really want to change the script because I really don't like it when, for instance, to talk about erectile dysfunction.
Yeah.
I hate that word dysfunction because when someone says something dysfunction, right, you hear that word, it sounds like something's wrong with you. Right. So we shifted it to call it erectile function. It's not that it doesn't work. We just want it to work better. Right. It's the same thing. Instead of calling it hair loss, we call it hair growth. We want to focus more on the positive. I can stand to have a little bit more hair on my head, right?
Yeah.
And weight loss, it's again, the way we try to do it in our marketing is it's not about not that, hey, you're fat or you're way overweight. It's, hey, I could lose a few pounds, right? So it's really changing the script and making men feel more empowered to do something about their overall well-being and their state of health.
Makes total sense. And by the way, I think the mic is kind of brushed up against your shirt sometimes here. Just a heads up on that.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. You're good. Now, here's the thing. There are many competitors in this space, I feel, right? Whether it's the Viagra aspect of it, whether it's a company like Tabs, you guys as well. So what kind of separates you from the competition? And I know you've got some of your product offerings here as well. What separates you from everybody else that's kind of attacking this space, maybe in a different way though?
Sure. Well, when we set out to enter into the market, again, there were only a few players out there that were doing anything from a compounded standpoint. Typically, when people were going online to order medications, they were getting generic medications like generic Viagra, generic Cialis, which is tadalafil, sildenafil. no one was really doing anything going the extra mile by compounding these medications with other medications to give it a little bit more of a robust impact. And also what we've done is also changed the delivery system. So instead of taking a pill, which, you know, is hard to swallow sometimes, we make a lot of ours in what's called rapid dissolve tablets. So they go under the tongue, they dissolve sublingually, so it hits the bloodstream faster. And that's another one of our taglines is ready, set, mango. So you're ready to go in a faster time frame than just taking a regular tablet. So compounded medications is something that we've kind of started to enter into the market and to introduce into the market. And that's really one of the things that separated us from the competition and continues to separate us from the competition. The other thing that's really separating us from the competition right now, which we're very excited about, and we literally just announced a couple days ago, was we are now able to prescribe controlled medications on our platform. We have just invested a significant amount of capital into a proprietary back-end telemedicine platform. Like I said, which is proprietary only for us. And the DEA has gone in and has done an extensive audit to allow us now to prescribe controlled medications. And what's the controlled medication that we're prescribing? It's actually testosterone. And one that I'm very, very excited about, and which I know is going to be a game changer in the market, because it's an oral form of testosterone.
Is that the TRT treatment? Is that because that's
correct.
I've heard of similar names. Okay, yeah,
that's right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. TRT stands for testosterone replacement therapy. So yes, exactly. And again, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this. I mean, you look pretty young, so you may not have an issue with testosterone, but unfortunately, men as they get older, they start losing. Their testosterone levels start to decrease, and therefore you have to go and try to get some kind of a supplementation to either boost your natural body's testosterone or to replace it. And traditionally, the way to have TRT is through like an injection or a shot, which I know could be painful. It's time consuming. You got to go to a clinic once a week. You have to stay on a schedule. If you travel, if you're busy, it gets it gets a little tough to really stay and maintain a schedule. But this is brand new. It's FDA approved and it's oral. You just take 2 soft gels once a day, and that's what replaces your testosterone. And it doesn't have nearly the amount of side effects that a shot would have. So this is truly game changing. Like I said, it's FDA approved. It is, we're debunking what people feel about oral TRT. Traditionally, someone would hear oral TRT and they think it's toxic to the liver. A lot of doctors are against that because of the toxicity. But this technology actually, it doesn't get dissolved in the liver. It gets dissolved in your lymphatic system. So it completely bypasses the liver. It's very safe. And your body is actually continuously producing natural testosterone. So, I just wanted to show some of the packaging here.
Yeah, feel free.
So this is what we call Prime by Mango RX. And these are the pills. They look very almost like an omega-3. So you can see right there, they're very small.
Yeah.
And you just take 2. So I'm actually on it myself. So I'm just going to take it real quick.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, mango life shaker.
Sometimes it's okay to take your own supply. I feel like this is one
absolutely.
I feel like this one is okay. And yeah, it's always good to not just put money where your mouth is, but also to take your own supplements and what you're providing here. Let's talk about the money aspect. Matter of fact, before I do that, I want to kind of touch base on what you said, because on this show, they kind of, there's an inside joke of how I always get my haircuts every week or so. I'm due for one, probably right after today. But there's hair loss that I deal with as well. There's a hair loss that many men will deal with because of stress, because they don't touch grass enough, because of today's world environment is in go mode, not just for men, but also for women as well. So I feel like there's more of an open conversation about, hey, yeah, these are the things that we deal with when it comes to health. Depression and mental health was a taboo topic, but now people talk about it openly on FinTwit. I'm hoping that hair loss and, erectile function, if, just to take your words from it, those are also conversations that we can have in the open space. Let's talk about the money aspect, because you are publicly traded. You've got this new oral FDA TRT treatment.
Yep.
What's that going to mean for the bottom line? How is it going to continue bringing in money? Because you are a company at the end of the day.
Absolutely. So the good news is that we somewhat have a competitive edge here, in that we're one of the only there's a small handful of companies that are able to even offer this product. We're very close with the CEO of the pharmaceutical manufacturer, and he's really given us a little bit of a head start. So that's number one.
Yeah.
Number two, our goal since we've launched Prime is really to get about 10,000 subscribers in the first year.
Yeah.
We sell it for about $225 a month. So again, you do the math. If we're trying to get to 10,000 customers, that's about $26 million a year in top line revenue.
Yeah.
And our margins are very hefty. We're between the mid 30s in the margins. And the good thing about TRT is once you're on it, you have to stay on it because your body is now used to getting that extra testosterone.
Right.
So the long-term value of this customer is just going to continue to compound and compound. So ideally, I should share some statistics. About 5% of the male population in the US are on some form of TRT. So that's roughly around 8 to 9 million men. So 10,000 subscribers is a very, it's a very infinitesimal, percentage of what out there. So obviously we're trying to get to 50,000, 100,000, which would get us into the, $250 million in revenue range. And that's just with this one product, not taking into account our Mango erectile function, our hair growth. We have oral dissolvable slim and trim, which is the semaglutide and the tirzepatide. That's going to be launched in a month from now. So all of those product categories are going to be bringing extreme, very good revenues to our top line. But Prime is, we know, is then good long-term value of a customer. 10,000 customers is our goal for the first year, which I believe we have a lot of strategies to hit.
Yeah.
So we're very, very bullish and very excited about getting this to market and start to generate recurring revenue.
A part of that strategy, I'm going to assume, is to have your partnership with the International Society of Frontier Life Sciences and Technology. You talked about that. You released press releases on it. Give me quick insights on how is that going to help the company, especially get to the numbers that you were just giving us a breakdown on.
Absolutely. And I'm just going to go back to your original point about a competitive edge.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that we saw, was that in order for us to maintain and be competitive in this industry with the competitors that we have, is to have a global presence. So we've already established a subsidiary in Mexico, and we're doing a lot of great things in Mexico to get the Mango name out there. And just recently, we just signed this distribution agreement with an Asian distributor that's going to focus on the Chinese market as well as Southeast Asia. And they've already been showcasing our products at conferences there. We've been in conversations, to further some opportunities there. So, as you know, the market in Asia is much greater than the United States. So I can allow you to kind of, take logic to where that's going to go in terms of what that can do for us. But it's going to give us a lot of exposure from a branding standpoint, and it will translate into, or at least we hope that it's going to be translating into some good top line revenue from a global standpoint.
And then I guess I'll turn it over to you. We've talked about so much in terms of not just competitive edge, but also the new products that you have coming out, where the strategy is, partnerships that you have now. You just mentioned in Asia and Southeast as well. Anything else that you were kind of hoping to talk about to our viewers that I didn't get a chance to bring up? The floor is kind of yours.
Absolutely. We're really going to be strengthening our online digital marketing presence. I announced this about 4 months ago, that we just retained a ad agency. Actually, there's a competitor of ours called Blue Chew, and they were the ones who took Blue Chew to 200 million in revenue from practically a startup. And so we retained the same ad agency. They're based out of Quebec City. They're called Crack Media or Crack Revenue. And we're very, very excited to get them going. I think they're very excited to show us what they can do.
Yeah.
So that's going to be, hopefully we'll be seeing the results of that very, very near term. And we just want to continue to get the name Mango out there to be a household name.
Well, hey, I look forward to, having more conversations, because again, I think this is an important topic to talk about, just because it's always kind of been hidden in the bedroom, so to speak. No pun intended there, but it is something that many humans around the world deal with. And I'm not just talking about the erectile side, but in terms of low testosterone, in terms of hair loss, in terms of, fat loss that they're looking to get, whatever the case may be. So Jacob, I'm glad we had this conversation. I look forward to the many more that we'll have here rest of the way.
Looking forward to it. Thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely. That is Jacob Cohen, who is the CEO of Mango RX. Ticker is MGRX. Thank you so much again, Jacob. All right, chat. And, we're always authentic on this show. You've heard me talk about the hair loss stuff that I deal with sometimes. And, stress is real in life. Mental health impacts a lot of people, not just men. So it's good to kind of talk to different companies, especially to talk to Jacob about what they're doing to make sure that there's a way to deal with those stresses of life, and you don't have to just continue to deal with it on the downside as well. But as always, chat, thank you so much for watching. And if you have any other interviews that you want us to conduct, feel free to shoot me an email. But we thank you for watching All Access.